Oh,
Okay. Six pack Lapadat. We're back. We got the young king here, Austin
yo.
Perkins. So we were just talking offline before we came on. We got a lot to cover in terms of the your prep, the anticipation, the hype of Sheffield, the event itself when you're there, how it felt, walk through the day, the fallout, Shell one, um, your performance, your thoughts on your performance, your thoughts moving forward. There's
Mhm.
caveats to your performance. We
Yeah.
talked about it on the recap show. While you wanted big numbers in terms of your total, on the flip side, you on all three of the major formulas, dots, Wilks, jail points, beat everybody. How on the flip side, though, you're a victim of your own success. So you didn't take that record and ended up. So people are like, wow, is he disappointed off podium? But there is some serious caveats. You established yourself as pound for pound the best powerlifter in the world. So
Mhm.
and maybe that's understated. So we could talk about all that as well as the future moving forward world games and your thoughts on people like Taylor and Shell leaving the weight class. Russ talking about going 93. What your thoughts on those
I
are? And
heard that. Yeah, my client
yeah,
told me that actually. I was like, what? I was like, that's
yeah.
crazy. Okay.
And some of the other surprises at Sheffield, and we'll run through it all, but let's double back. In preparation for Sheffield, how did the prep go? It looked phenomenal.
So everything was going good. I had a few blocks like where I wasn't feeling as confident on some things. This is the first competition I did in flats for squat. So I had to like learn that over the like 6 months that we had prep. Um, it was a learning process. Like I couldn't figure out stance and stuff, but in the end, it ended up working out pretty good. Um, Thinking about switching back. We can talk about that more after we talk about like what I'm gonna change and stuff like that. But squat was doing good. Bench was like iffy. It would be good some blocks and then bad other blocks. Don't know what that was about. It was just and then deadlift was has been terrible ever since.
Really?
Yeah, deadlift's been terrible since Powerlifting American Nationals last year. Like I haven't felt good with that at all. So I mean, it was like I knew I could do something if I was feeling good on the day. The goal was well over 850, 860, 870. On a good day, like a perfect day, 900 would have been there if we would have hit what we wanted to hit. But like I said on my story, I'm not going to make any excuses for anything. I will just say, because I'm not going to say the main reason that it was just I wasn't there mentally and I wasn't there physically on the day. That's all it was. I'm excited to know that if I'm not feeling good, I can still put up like a world record total. So that's good. So prep wasn't what I wanted. It was good enough to get what we got. I think squat progressed the most. I was most confident on that. Hopefully that confidence continues, but it wasn't the prep I was looking for. But I've done this long enough where it's like it could end up going good or it could end up being bad. You just have to just go in and expect it. So yeah, it was all right.
So first off, why did you change in terms of the shoes?
I wasn't feeling stable in the hills for some reason, man. I just felt like I always say I felt like I looked like Bambi. I felt like Bambi in them, like whenever it's first born, the deer. And I was just like, I didn't feel like my legs were underneath me. It felt weird. So I switched out of them. And that was because I think maybe the heel height was too high.
Mm.
So me and Joe were working on finding a specific heel that fits for me, like maybe going down to like where it's kind of like a flat almost, but still has a little heel elevation. We're just gonna play with it. We got a little bit of time, so that's what I'm gonna work on this next block that I'm going into. So it was just I felt like it made me feel more stable, but it hindered depth on some things. Like this competition was the first competition I got so many reds on squat. And
Mm.
it wasn't just because of like I'm not blaming the flats. I feel like it's harder to hit depth in flats for me. So that's a big thing. But just how I was feeling before the competition as well. I'm happy I got what I got.
Well, first off, what you got is just a couple kilos off of what would have won the 83 kilo world championships
Wow.
in 2024. Like it's a phenomenal total. Already said about all the different formulas. But for sure, I like how you said so. Some people talk about flats or heels as though it's one or the other. Look, you go flat or you go heels, but there is variations of the heel.
Hmm.
It's not just throw it out. It's
Yeah.
not working. It's like, no, no, no. How big of a heel is it? That for
Hmm.
sure makes a difference. It's not all or nothing. And if you go flat, you do have to sit back a lot more because your heel's not elevated, you're not tilted
Yeah.
forward. So to hit that depth really is a little bit different. Like you're squatting the same range of motion distance, but your
Yeah.
angle different. So you're like, ah, shit, it does change a lot. It does, there's
Yeah.
a lot of variables.
People don't realize it's like I did that in 6 months too. Like from not even the full 6 months. 'Cause I think I did a block right after Worlds in heels still, and I still wasn't feeling good. So I was like, I'm gonna try flats. Um, and then I just learned that going into Sheffield, and I still squatted a PR. So like the more I've thought about the competition now, the more I've been trying to think about it differently. Um, and I feel like it's changed me aspect wise of how I'm going to lift going forward, like how I want my career to go and what I'm going to strive for. Um, but before I felt like I was just like running away from like people thinking that I was the best or me feeling like I was the best. I was running away from that feeling going into competitions, but now I've looked at it like let me run towards what I want to be, what legacy I want to leave, what I want to be known for whenever I'm done. So like that's what I've thought about since I've been after the competition because I was down bad for a while. And then like you said, like I had to think about other things like hit a world record squat, hit a world record total. Still was pound for pound best on the day, even on my worst day. I think I totaled like 7, 8 kilos less than my best total on a 7 for 9 day when I wasn't feeling good. Like these are wins. And I'm just looking at the loss being I didn't win the competition when it was going to be harder to win the competition anyway because Shell had dropped down. So I just had to stop looking at things so negatively and look at the positives and say we still have room to grow. We still have things better to feel. Let's just go towards that instead of looking at everything like, what if this doesn't happen? What if this doesn't happen?
For you to face the best powerlifters in the world, all of the world champions are there. And for you to take every single formula on all of them. So you establish yourself as the pound for pound king. Ain't a bad showing. And you did it IPF standards with the world watching. That's not the format who judges the competition, but that's why it's important to have these conversations and add perspective
Yeah,
and let
shout out
people.
Matt Gary because Matt was like before the competition, he talked to me and he was like, "Hey, like no matter what happens, you're still a world champion, and this is just an exhibition. That's literally all it is. It's good to win it, yeah, for those people who do win it, but there's only one winner. You can podium, but that's fine. People are going to talk about the winners, but what matters is this is an exhibition. This does not define you as a lifter or you as an athlete. What what defines you is how many championships you win. How good are you? Are you getting best lifter at the competition? Like these are the things that matter. Sheffield is a huge achievement, but there's still more.
And what I like about Sheffield is the fact that it's not the same. And
Yeah.
here's why. Because I've talked about this with people in the comments. Due to you, I made a post saying, just a reminder for reference point, Perk at Sheffield took all three formulas against the world's best. So that's undisputed. He's
Mhm.
pound for pound king. And some people were like, oh, that's what Sheffield should be based off of is those formulas. And I said, in our sport, the two football teams and other sports, two football teams, baseball teams, basketball, whatever you want, can have a series, a tight series within a week where they play several games. And from one game to the other can be a complete change.
Mhm.
Basketball. I love those the basketball documentaries, and you'll have like these old rivalries, like Bird versus Magic Johnson or whatever, and they would have these best of series in a tight span, and from one game to another can be a complete change due to strategy, due to whatever it is. But our sport isn't that. If you did like too close, your totals aren't going to change. Who's stronger isn't going to change. Like someone's not going to magically all of a sudden be stronger than you in the 74s 2 weeks later when you beat them by whatever kilos. Unless they bombed or something crazy happened, the difference is going to be relatively minimal. For our
Mhm.
sport, we need a format change. The fact that Sheffield is completely different and found something unique in a terms of way of crowning champions And it actually beforehand it'd be like, would this be enjoyable to watch? Well, we found out it is. I'm 100% on board. Make it different than worlds. We have world games. Make the format completely different. However, you those formulas, they would be like shit. If we had those formulas, I would have like it would have been me on top of there. But so for yourself, obviously, it's a different opinion. But as a viewer, um, I don't know. If you just ran it back, worlds ran it back the same formula, you don't think you're gonna have two worlds in 6 month period. Essentially, is what you're gonna do. Like we already have
Yeah.
world's best lifter.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's just something that adds different variety to the sport. I think it's good. Like I'm not I think it's still a great idea. Pete knows I think it's a great idea. Um, it's just different. I mean, you win some, you lose some. Some people are better at other things than other things. And then like Amanda, I feel like we're guilty of our own success. So like there's like literally nothing you can do at that point, especially if someone goes down. Don't get me started on that. But yeah, man, it's just different. I mean, I did as good as I could. I mean, I got fifth on a 7 for 9 day, and I felt like shit, so I'll take it.
Also, it's important to sometimes you walk into things knowing. So controlling narrative is huge. If you walk into an event knowing, all right, this is going to be difficult, but I can say you could start entering podcasts, throwing down challenges, being like, I dare someone to take even one of those formulas off me this
Yeah,
week. I dare you. I dare somebody to even take one of them. I'm taking all of them. Be like, I'm going to be and start. The narrative is yours. And then
yeah,
when you finish off on your final pull or whatever, and you start putting the crown on your head and all the rest of it, even then you could be like, I respect the fact. Yeah, Shelly, you won and you did what we've never seen in the 66s. That's great. I'm still pound for pound king. You
yeah,
could do these things. So anyways, just some thoughts out there. Always control the narrative, like Shale
yeah.
Sonnen always
Facts.
says, right?
I feel like the biggest narrative that I had is I honestly believed that I was going to out total the 83s going into Sheffield. Like there was no doubt in my mind that I would. Like based off the numbers we were supposed to hit, like the low end was supposed to be what Russ hit. That was supposed to be like bad day. This is what's gonna happen. Of course, it didn't happen that way, but that's what I was like. That was my goal, you know. Besides, like I was like, yeah, if show wins, that's cool. I don't care if I get like second or third and I beat the 83s, I'll be happy. That was my thing. So I mean, I'm still gonna just try to achieve that goal. That's still a goal that I have, like a positive goal. I have something to look forward to, something to cement my legacy. Is I just want to do that at the same competition I'm at with those those athletes at those 83s. So like at Worlds, they would go after me. So
Mm.
let's see if I can out total them. At World Games, it would be the exact same things. We're in the same weight class. I guess it's better on the day. But I feel like it's better if I beat them the day before and they go in and they have to try to beat that total and they know what they have to hit and they still can't hit it. That would be more satisfying to me than like doing it on the day.
So 100%, it would be more dominating, more assertive doing it like
Yeah.
that. But as a viewer, World Games, seeing you go head to head with the 83s, and it's going to be Russ Jurens and is it Enaharo?
Yes,
I
and
have to double. Seeing you go head to head, if you think you can out total them in a head to head like that, as well as win overall on GL points, that would
mhm.
be absolutely freaking bonkers. Like there's nothing like head to head. You know, as a sports fan, you're right. Like for you to set a marker and be like, I'm gonna give you 24 hours to beat this, and you put it out there like that. That's everyone be like, oh shit, did you see what Perk did? You throw it in your stories. I'm giving you 24-hour notice. This is where it's at. Let me see what you got. That's crazy dominant. You're right. But in terms of straight viewership, seeing you guys go head to head at World Games is going to be phenomenal. And if you do what you can do, we'll see because Russ is going to be there. You'll have a rematch, so to speak.
Yeah.
Not to get too far ahead, but do you think you would be a small 83, like 75 kilos or whatever, or no, you'll stay in the 74s for World Games?
Oh no, I probably would way over to be honest. I probably would be like walk around at 76, 77. Like that's when I eat my fill and I like want to eat whatever, drink whatever, chill, not really manage really anything. Probably like 76, 77. So
So you'll be straight up head to head with these guys.
yeah, I could at that weight, I could bench 215 easy. I just dropped weight and then my bench just doesn't feel as stable. So
Rick, I'm telling you, if you win world games off of good lift points, overall win, and also win 83's head up, that's it. This whole
yeah,
taste you got in your man, that's it. It changes. It changes everything.
yeah, we'll see. We shall see. The only thing about that is I might not be going to World Games.
Well, hang on a second. All right, we can't. I was gonna wait to talk to World Games after we ran through Sheffield Worlds, all the rest of it. We can't leave everybody hanging on that. What's going on?
So look, I will say this, and this will be like one of the only times you hear me say this. Taylor is right. Everything's changed when you have a child, man. My kid's gonna be born like 2 weeks, 3 weeks before World Games. I can't leave.
Mm.
I can't do it. So like
Mm.
it's like a 90% no to be honest. Um and I just it's my first child and she's a girl too. And my wife's gonna need help. Like
Mm.
I
See,
can't do it.
this is where Taylor missed the world championships for his kid,
Yeah.
Owen. And I'm like, damn it, man, these kids are costing us some performances.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I mean,
that's
I think hearing about it later on, my daughter would be like, "Oh my God, Dad, I can't believe you did that."
dude.
But
Look, I ain't trying to talk you either way. If it's me, I look at my dad and be like, get out there, King. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm fine. Mom's gonna hold me down. Get out there and give me, you know what I want? I want a fucking another world title. Go get it, kid. But yeah, what it is it is a
yeah,
hell of a sacrifice.
I mean, I think it's worth it, honestly. This will definitely keep me in powerlifting for the next 4 years then. So I'm
Yeah.
excited for that. So I know I at least got another 4 years now. Um, and I literally won't stop. Just gotta like, as long as I stay healthy, keep doing what I'm doing, or do the things that we're gonna change to be doing, then I think we'll be fine. I haven't had any major injuries ever besides the hernia, so I think it'll be good. I hope in the next 4 years, three other people don't beat me. That would be
Listen,
bad.
listen. Your daughter starts powerlifting. You tell her straight off the bat, you owe me a World Games. You know this, right? You owe me. No
No,
pressure.
thanks.
No
Someone,
pressure, but
whenever we announced our the gender, someone commented and was like, "All right, Agatha 2.0." And I was like, "Yeah, let's go." I was like, "Let's go. We're
well,
starting now."
it's funny this happens, but like whenever a kid of a famous athlete enters into a sport, the pressure must be incredible because you start in anonymity where you're just like having fun, small games. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, who gives a shit? No one knows anyways. But when your last name is like Perkins or whatever last name it is for the athlete in that sport that's famous, the pressure would be insane. It'd be like
Mhm.
everyone's looking like look how we're talking right now, and the kid's not even here yet. Let him for me. So I don't know if that pushes the kid away or brings him in.
Yeah, I think I actually told my wife that if it was a boy, I was like, I don't know if I want him to power lift. I feel like that's like I wouldn't want to have to try to live up to my dad, you know? I feel like I did do that in football because my dad was a really good football player before he got hurt. And then I couldn't. And then it made me feel like crap because I wasn't even close.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah.
so I'm like if it was a boy, I was like, I mean, my wife's like, you should just let him try, just let him try because like you don't know, like he might be as good, he might be better, you don't know. But I was like, but if he isn't though.
You're like, he might be as good, he might be better, and you're like, come on, man, 3 4 years. Let's be you're wild right now. You,
Look,
you
listen, let's be honest.
all three. I'm the unified champ. You serious right now? Let's be real here. I love the
Oh
kid,
my
but
God.
have you Have you ever seen Arnold Schwarzenegger's son? I forget what the pretty boy one, and he's
Mm-mm.
got two sons, right? He's got one that's like a pretty boy who like doesn't lift. He went a total different direction. He does modeling and everything, but he's in shape, but he doesn't lift. And then Arnold Schwarzenegger has a son through like when he slept with his maid.
Hmm.
And so the one son totally went a different direction, grew up a Schwarzenegger, and like is gonna carve his own path. The other son, Schwarzenegger, slept with the maid, and he was for like the first 10 years of his life, he doesn't have the last name Schwarzenegger and doesn't I don't know if Arnold publicly even acknowledged, and then it came out and he acknowledged whatever. And that son fucking in the gym every day looks just like Arnold, jacked to shit. When he
Dang.
there's
Okay.
pictures of him, there's pictures of him hitting poses, and it's like holy shit, he's like a young Arnold Schwarzenegger. That son's earning his father's love. That's what he's doing. He's like, yo, I got to earn this shit. You're gonna look my way and recognize me now. Everybody's gonna look at me like that's Schwarzenegger right there. But a little adversity doesn't hurt. But
Yeah.
anyways, um, so going into Sheffield, let's double back a little bit. We can talk about post Sheffield in a
Yeah.
shake, but going into Sheffield, what did you think about the hype? Were you telling yourself because it's a lot? Obviously, it's like no other single because it's a single day event. So the people that are on the roster are going to get far more attention. It's not like Worlds where it's a multi-day event, and
Hmm.
you really can't single out any one person overly much because there's too many damn people, right? Which is good. I like it. But the hype around it, the talk around it, and then when Shell announced he's dropping down, how did you feel about all of it?
I think the hype was good. Um, I think that they set the narrative really well. Pete knew what he was doing when he offered Shell that invite. Like that was a good thing to do if he was going to be a 66. That was really good. All the narrative on Shell was good. All the narrative on the Russ versus Jurgens battle was really good. I really didn't pay attention to the women's side, but no, I think on the men's side it was really well done. I think they like with the media stuff, it's so cool to see behind the scenes, like what they have you doing, what you can do, and like the pictures and stuff, and how they have everything set up. It's cool. He just kind of explained it to me, like around PLA time last year. But like he just told me the broad strokes. He was like, yeah, they do this, you eat, they feed you, it's good. But then when I got there and I experienced it, I was like, oh, like we're like pro athletes. Like that's what we are. Like they're treating us like that. Like they picked us up from the airport, like shuttled us from the airport to the hotel, fed us breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Had our own itineraries planned out for us. So we literally didn't have to wait on anything. We just went in and did it. Um, Everything was fast with the pictures as well. It wasn't like time consuming. You had time to have your day, had time to train. They gave you the facility to train, and we trained at SBD headquarters. That was great. No, man, that's an experience that I feel like people should shoot for if you want to feel like a pro athlete. Worlds is good. Making the worlds you have to make to get to Sheffield, you have to go to Worlds. But I think it's an experience if you have a chance, take it. Um, and if you are close to achieving that, like shoot for it. Like that should be a goal. Because if every competition was handled like that, that would be amazing. Like one day, hopefully, I'm still around. Like maybe the federations in the U.S. like start paying you or like start comping your flight to all these other things, like or the IPF like shuttles specific like their best lifters, like top three lifters in the world, shuttles them from the airport by themselves and get paid for their hotel. Like stuff like that,
Mm.
incentives that make you feel even more like an athlete. But I think it's great, man.
Yeah, for sure SBD setting a tone that we've already seen Worlds kind of taking some of these cues. So SBD's kind of marching the way with it, but yeah, it feels like a professional event.
Hmm.
I mean, it is. It is actually
Yeah,
pro sports for you guys, which is kind of cool to see.
yeah. They show you like around places. Like we got to go and see the Sheffield City Hall before. They let us on the stage to see what it was gonna look like out there. By the way, I think people shouldn't be afraid to compete at Sheffield. Like it's if you get overstimulated very, very, very easily, then of course no. But if you're an athlete, you're doing it at this level, there's some type of flow state or something you lock into get you prepared on the day. So you shouldn't even be focused on the crowd. It's so easy. They made it sound so much worse than what it was going to be. And then they told me it was like 2,200 people, and I was like, bro, that's not that many people. 2,200 is not that many people.
How about this? Um, Sheffield is already announced. So Sheffield the next Sheffield, there's going to be two in 2026. The first one sold out literally in hours, not even a day, but in fractions of a day. Immediately sold out.
Yeah.
The Sheffield after that, we're changing venues. So the venue itself can hold 14,000 people. They're not going to sell
Okay,
14.
that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. 14,000 people is a lot of people.
But okay, so the first, yeah. So the first one in that venue, they won't open it up for all 14, but they'll probably double to around 5,000, which I'm sure they'll sell because it's like 2.7 or whatever the shit. They're selling in like 6 hours. 5,000 people. And then after that, good. Let's sell that out a couple times, bump it up from there, bump it up from there. We're 5,000 was already Sheffield doubled.
Mm-hmm.
When we start getting into those numbers, now experience everything, and I saw the pictures of this arena. It looks, I can only imagine double the amount of people in an arena feel. And I saw pictures when it's got people in it, it looks wild. And then if we get to like 7,000, 8,000, what are you thinking?
That's a lot of people as well. I just don't. I think 2,000, 2,200 is kind of like, when it gets past like that five, it's like, okay, there's a lot of people. But like, I feel like what helps me is I didn't play, but whenever I went to college my first year, I went to Mississippi State, and they're in a huge stadium that holds more than 15,000 people, and
Mm.
everyone has cowbells just shaking them in this, like, it's open, but in the stadium. That's the loudest thing I've ever been a part of, and it shook the stadium and everything. I think now it's kind of like, like I played in front of like 1,000 people in football before, so it's kind of like all eyes are basically on you when you have the ball anyway. But it's like you can mess up around these other people. So I just feel like that's just it was. If you definitely get worried and you haven't been a part of something that's like over 1,000 people, I can see if you could be like worried, and especially if it's dark and if you look out there, it's like you'll be a deer in headlights. But bro, just look at the bar, go to the bar, look at the judge, and freaking do what you do on squat. That's literally all you have to do. Like, don't focus on everything else because that the stage does shake a little bit. It's not like,
Really?
yeah, like they made it seem like it was gonna be like, no, it wasn't. It wasn't that bad.
Think the stage shaking at all is wild. Like I can't
Yeah,
believe that the crowd could shake the stage. You could feel the
yeah,
tremors.
yeah. Because it's like, especially from like the speakers and everything as well too. So you got to like realize that everything's just beaming at that section. So yeah, it was like a little bit you could feel it like whenever it was like doom doom like the music with the super bass in it. Then people screaming like on a third squat, a third deadlift. Yeah,
Dude, after you hit that third squat, you leapt in the air and it was a crazy moment right there too.
yeah. No, that was one of the easiest slash hardest squats that I've done. Easy because it moved fast, but hard because it didn't feel as easy as I wanted to, but it moved fast though. So it was weird, and I was just like, "Damn, that's crazy." Because we were supposed to go 325, and Joe dropped it to 323 because he said like my elbow was doing something weird, and he was like, "I don't know," and I was like, and my wife was like, because my wife couldn't be in there because they wouldn't let assistant coaches. We thought assistant coaches and head coaches could be there, but they couldn't. And she was like, "Joe, why would you go 323? He had the 325, like it was there." And he was like, it was just his elbow, man. His elbow was doing something weird. And I was like, oh my God. It wouldn't have changed anything. But I really wanted that 325, man. I wanted all those reds on the bar.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It
What
would
was
look
it
pretty.
like? What was it like when you got into the venue in the warm-up room and everybody's down there? And all, I mean, the only the best of the best now.
It was pretty good. I was on a rec with Panna actually and
Oh,
Ashton, which is weird. But
yeah, that's a weird,
that was
yeah,
like we
dude.
I don't now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think we said anything to each other the entire time. Like I definitely didn't say anything to Panna. And I'm pretty sure Panna and Ashton didn't talk either. I said something to Ashton, but I just asked him, could I sit here? But other than that, it was just
That's it.
we were just freaking warming up the whole time, man. Like headphones in, chilling. Like it just, I don't know. It was all right. I don't like, me in the warm up room. I'm like to myself. I do my own things. Like I was standing like outside in like the meet and greet area. I was out there just listening to music, and then my wife or Joe would come get me and then tell me my next set was up. But I was the first one down there, so I was the second person to weigh in. Amazing. I'm usually like last, so that made me happy.
Mm.
Um, and then I just got down there, ate, then put my headphones in and just started stretching at that point. So I'm warm up room stuff is just like a big me thing. I like to stay in my zone and try to get in my zone, which was not in my zone that day. But
So you all right. I heard the rumor that you came in with a small injury. Obviously, you could perform to a point of 8 foot that you broke the world record and took all the formulas. So obviously, it was sustainable, doable, etc. But you got something an issue, and I know you don't want to say it, so I'm just throwing out there. This is what I heard. It's like because you don't want to make excuses, so I'm just going to say what I heard, and it was
okay,
commonly tossed around. A lot of people heard about it. It is what it is. So that's definitely going to hamper the day, the excitement, etc. When things like this pop up and you walk in there and you're like, damn, this is bad timing. But you still had you had a historic day for your weight class and
hmm
still and still, even in this vulnerable state, you're putting up your crown for pound king direct. And you still escaped with all three formulas in the pound for pound king.
yeah,
But how is it? Did that take you out of your mental state? What do you think it was? Or was it an accumulation of different things?
yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not gonna make excuses about it. It happened. It happened. Yeah, I ended up getting an injury about a week out, and at that point, honestly, I was gonna like decline my spot. And then my wife was
Really?
like, yeah, yeah, it was that bad. So um my wife was like, no, look, don't do it. We can try our best to just get you as healthy as we can before the competition. She was always telling me, she's like, you're gonna be fine, don't worry about it. Like worse has happened, you'll be good, you'll be fine. And then I was like, all right, but in the back of my mind, it's my body. I'm like, it hurts. And so we got to a good point where I was like feeling a little bit better. Um uh And then I got to like my last days of prep at when I was in Sheffield, and things didn't feel like they usually do. And then at that point, I just had that worry in the back of my head, and the only thing that got me through it was like um, just being like, look, if you're gonna go and do this, just try at least to get through one lift, like as much as you can. Like throw it all out there on one lift. Like that's all you can do. Like usually I pace myself a little bit. I'm like I won't put enough energy into it. I'll go about the day and like use as much energy as I need at the time. But I was like, just dump all of your freaking energy in a squat. That's all you can do. So I did that, and then after that point, what had happened had reoccurred, and then my body just wasn't feeling good at all. And then I got the deadlift, and my last warm up was hard. Uh, I guess if we talk about it now, we can make it breaking news if you want it. What my opener was supposed to be for deadlift was way less what it was supposed to be. And then the number that I was opening up with, I had failed the week before.
Oh shit. So
Yeah.
so you must have been nervous altogether. The uncertainty must have been wild. No wonder you weren't overly excited. You're kind of like, I'm not sure what's gonna happen here.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was just like whatever happens, happens. And I was thinking that I'll break the world record for sure. I was like, even if I chip it, I'll be good. I was like, as long as I break the world record, there's the 5,000 pounds. And then I was like, if I put everything in the squat, there's 5,000 pounds. So I was like, no matter what, at least I'm coming out of this competition with 10,000 pounds. Like I could get dead last and not get any monies for placing and
Mm.
still have 10,000. And I was like, I'll be happy. I'm making my money back. I'll have extra money for the baby. This is good. I'm happy
Mm.
with that. So that's another reason why I just went through with it. Because at that point we already knew we were having a child. And I was like, I mean, extra money doesn't hurt. I was like,
Oh,
even if I did break the world record, I still could have broke the total a little bit. So
yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine what it'd feel like with all the hype around it. And this is where we're starting to get to the point in this sport where all the hype, all the attention, everything that's been said, we remember the fire quote you gave where you're like, I'm going to wear all black because this is going to be a funeral for these guys.
yeah,
And like you had some fire quotes and you're doing what you're supposed to do. You help hype the event by doing those things. And then the week out, you're like, shit, am I going to be under scrutiny? It wasn't heavy scrutiny, but like still, you're wondering, like, what if it did, what if it went completely sideways? You broke the overall world record and still had like a banner day. But what if it didn't? You got to start telling yourself, if you failed that a week out, I can see where you show
yeah,
up and you're like, maybe the adrenaline, maybe we're good, but maybe I hit a monster squat and my back, I get the squat, but my back is like, hey, that was your last one, Playboy. I hope you like it. Your days, you know?
yeah. Like I said, I'm not making any excuses about it. I mean, even if I was healthy, I could have maybe still done the exact same thing and not done it. So I mean, like it's neither here or there for me. I put in the past. I found this quote. I know you love quotes. You and Gavin always be on the quotes, and I'm like I try to load up before I get on here so I can say something. So first of all, I don't know who said this, but it says it'll all be okay. It's not a matter of whether or not I can do it. It's about giving your all in that very moment to turn your promises to yourself into a reality.
Mm.
So like that's what I've been trying to focus on. Like it'll be okay. It's in the past. It's happened. All we can do now is just go forward and try to achieve those dreams that I've always had. Like there's nothing stopping me. It wasn't like anything that's like permanent, you know. Also another one I like is the way you feel right now, you won't feel that way forever. And so like after I got back, my wife was going to classes. I was home alone. I would just go in like a small depression, not a super depression, but a small depression about like, am I still good? Is this like my beginning of my career all over again? Like I'm over here self doubting and stuff like that. And then I had to just self realize and just be like, it'll be okay. It's fine. And me and Joe talked about it, and I say we compared it to the Virginia Pro back in like 2021, 2022, something like that. Um, and like I was supposed to go in and win that one. That was on best lifter formula, and I was supposed to win that one by a slide, and the same thing basically happened. Um, he was like, "What happened after that meet?" Well, I went to the P3 and then I hit a PR on squat. And he was like, all right, what happened after that? And I was like, oh, well, I went to Raw Nationals and I hit 851. He was like, exactly. He was like, this is the this is the bad part that we had. Everyone has a bad meet every once in a while. This is your bad meet. Now let's get back on track and build to what we're on. Because before that competition, I was at like 800 was still my max. And I pushed it to 851 2 meets later. So he was like,
Mm.
imagine now after this competition, what happened to you and how you felt after and use that to push yourself forward and put another 50 kilos on, like do what we can do.
Does it give you solace? Like, obviously the old expression, it can always be worse, but every time you hit the platform with all these other world champions, you're putting the pound for pound title up for grabs. You are. And you put it up for grabs again that day and you walked away with it again. That's
Mm-hmm.
success. That was a successful title defense right there. You it could have went a different way. You could have left that and people, even if somebody grabbed one of those formulas from you, it could have been like, well, now there's a question.
Yeah,
But there was no question.
yeah.
Does that
Like
help a little bit or
I mean, when people continuously tell me that, yes. Um, like my wife, like she tries to point it out to me and stuff, and I listen to her and I hear, and I appreciate her like trying to make me feel better and being honest with me. But to me, it's just like I have to self realize it myself and accept it that it's true. Like I know it's true, but I haven't accepted that it's true. Um, so I just needed to accept it. And now like more and more every day, I'm like, bro, you're still you. You still did good, even though you had a bad day. You just haven't had a bad day in a while. And then like the post I posted today about all the competitions I've been through with my wife, like I've hit some type of achievement. Like I squatted 323 and a half, which was right below what the 83 record was. And then I hit the 83 record, which it was just that 6 months ago. Like,
Mhm.
well, yeah, 6 months ago. It's like
Mhm.
like you're doing good stuff, man. Like just realize it. So it's helping. I think all of my friends are doing their best. Like all my friends checked on me, like the ones from college, like Chloe and my other roommate Rob. Like they text me like, "Hey, are you good? Like we know how you feel after you have a competition like this." I was really appreciative of that. And yeah, man, I'm feeling a little bit better now, man. You know, like beggars can't be choosers. Whatever happened, happened. It's in the past, man. I'm ready to get back to squatting now at this point.
In a lot of ways, like honestly, you're still the pound for pound based off of numbers, not opinion. If anything, it doubled down and solidified that because you put it up for grabs, and it will leave it hungry and room to grow and take off from here. It would probably be surprising to a lot of people to think that it would hit so hard negatively.
Yeah,
I do think also your quote about how you feel about this now isn't going to be how you feel about it in the future. I think 100%. When you look back 20 years, into the future, and you look back on this day, you're going to be like, on my worst day, I put it up for grabs head to head against every other champion in the world, and I still came out pound for pound king. And I was injured, and that was my worst day. And then I came back and did this, that, and the other, etc. But when you look back, like whenever you could do that, it's a phenomenal showing. So
yeah.
what do you think it is that makes it? Do you think everybody at your level feels this way, where like your expectations are,
I
it's
mean, I feel like some people do. A lot of people, a lot of athletes do have that same like, oh, I didn't do as good as I wanted to, or I could have done better. What could have I done better if I would have changed this? Is like I feel like every major athlete or pro athlete, if you want to call us that, probably goes through that. But I just take it like 100 times worse. Like it just hits me 1,000 times harder, and I have to like wallow in it for a little bit, and then pull myself out of it, and then be like, all right, like let's get back up, let's get back to it. You know, like I think it's just because I hold myself, like you said, to a very high standard, and like
mm,
I see it in different ways. Like instead of seeing the positives first, I see all of the negatives first, and they're amplified. So like people are like, oh well, you still got best lifter on all formulas, and you still hit a PR, you still hit a PR on squat, and you still like broke the world record. But I'm saying it as, yeah, but I mean, I got fifth behind people that I feel like I was better than a few months ago. Not on the day for sure. And it's like, dang, well, look at you, you suck now. And it's like, well, you don't suck. You still did this and this, and it's really good. And my wife has to keep reminding me and continuing to tell me that. And I appreciate that because I would just sit and self wallow my own pity if I didn't have someone to help me with that. So no, yeah, I think I'll let myself get depressed and then I'll sit in it. No, I can't be doing that, especially when you're about to have a child. Can't be doing that. So I'm trying to look towards the positive, man.
do you think like would you change that, or would you keep it knowing? Do you think it's necessary to have drive come back and because it feels shitty, but on the flip side, and you could be like, wow, what if I just focus on the positives and like realize that? Or do you think no, this is necessary? What are your thoughts on it? Because I don't know.
I mean, I think both are good. I just think that how much do you let them affect you? You know, like you could think positively and still go towards like, hey, like I know what I did right, and I know the things that I could do better, and I know how to fix those things, and it makes you feel better and more confident. It's like, and it gives you more job to work for it. Or like on the opposite side, it's like, all right, that was terrible. I never want to feel like that again. Like, let me just grind, 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 grind. You know, like put my head down, just do whatever I need to do. But it's just what levels that you take it to, you know? Like I feel like both are healthy in their own point of view. But like for me, I feel like if I use it too much, I'll let it take a lot out of me and I'll start using it as it'll become more self doubt and less motivation is what would happen to it. So that's what I'm trying to figure out now going forward. Cause like I've been off for 2 weeks now. I haven't done anything. Um, but like going into this next week, because I start training, I want to start thinking more of like, what can I do to get better? And actually like making the flow state natural instead of trying to force it. Because I feel like that's what I've been doing for a while now. And I think I just need to let it come and trust myself and do it, like let my body do what it needs to do and not force it to do what it needs to do. Because that's when I perform my best. When I hit my 851, I feel like I like wasn't even there. Like I remember talking to you about it. It was like literal flow state. Like squats were on point. I knew I was hitting depth. Everything felt the same speed. On bench, I went out there. Every form was the same. Everything felt good. No leg slippage. Good call on that. I watched the Sheffield video and you said that. That's what I was doing. I was like, yeah, my legs slipped from underneath me. I didn't have them set
Mm.
right. So that was good. And on deadlift, I would just go out there and just pull and it would be naturally easy. So I need to go back into that and stop trying to force like this needs to be good. This needs to be good. Make sure you're doing this. Like just go in and just do it. That's what I need to focus on now. And if I use negativity too much, I'll just be like, oof, was that good? Oh, that wasn't good enough. Instead of just being confident in what I'm doing and just letting everything come naturally.
This is an interesting conversation about trying to let things happen naturally and not force them. Because here's something I've noticed. I want to get your opinion on this. So you have certain lifters when they amp themselves up and they train really hard. There's training hard. Like for instance, Penn has talked about this actually. There are times when like there are certain people, if you don't have to push them, you have to pull them back. And if they
Mm-hmm.
push themselves, they'll push too hard. And I mean, we all know Penn can grind, but he will overgrind, overfry, be like, I need this single if I'm going to end up with that number. Kind of like you were saying, this is shit. These numbers are shit. It's not good, even though you're fine. But if you you're like, no, I'm going to force this through sheer willpower. And we tell ourselves, that's good. That's grind culture,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's like, yeah, force it, king. Thing is, you could leave your best in the gym and not peak properly. We have, for instance, talking about a lot of debate. Obviously, one of the biggest showdowns looming is Amanda Lawrence versus Agatha, and the pressure on Amanda to you got to start moving this total because Agatha's coming at you. But also, how you deal with that has to be appropriately applied. So it can't be just bet when I'm training, I need to hit this number so I have that number, and that can actually throw you off. That type of pressure, that type of
Yeah.
if you crawl into your head too much, to your point, if you crawl into your head too much and start setting these things, whereas strength, you almost coerce it. It almost comes natural. It's like, no, 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 no. Stay on your RP, stay on your, it kind of
Mm-hmm.
happens like all of a sudden, like by surprise at times.
Yeah.
Very difficult for an athlete to digest.
I feel like you focus so much on grinding and trying to make sure everything is fine tuned, to make sure everything is perfect, make sure everything feels like it's supposed to feel, that you're just overthinking it too much. And I feel like the best times I've done my best, especially on bench, is just going into it and just like, I'm just going to bench this instead of these are the cues I'm going to use. This is what I'm going to focus on, you know? When I squat, like in competitions, that's what I usually think about. I'm like, I'm just going to go down and go up, you know? Like, I'm going to let my body do what it does. And that's when I have my best squat days. Like, Worlds was one of the worst squat days I've ever had in my life. Like, everything fell forward. I squatted at 311, and I promise you, I couldn't have squatted another kilo. Um,
Why do you think that
like,
was if we hang there for 1 second?
oh, it's just because I didn't feel stable in the hills going
Mm.
into it. Like we were talking about it. Like the hill was too high. And I felt like I just wasn't stable in the hole. Whenever I would go down in the hole, I felt like I would shift a lot. I did have a hip injury too going into that competition and then coming out of it. Shout out my chiropractor Lane. If you're in Austin, you definitely hit him up. Yeah, he fixed me, man. Like he was like, I just want to make you healthy and keep you healthy going into Sheffield, and then we'll talk about it after, like what we need to do if we need to go to the doctor and get like X-rays. But if you're like, I started feeling better, thankfully, and like now I'm fine now. Like I go in, I know what stretches I need to do to warm up. I need to know what stretches I need to do to cool down. Like it's good. But yeah, I think just us trying to make sure everything is good is what like slows us down, and that's where it could be like Panda pushes so hard. He's like, I have to do this, and it's like, well, you don't have to do this. Like you probably could take less and get the same amount out of it. But I mean, it's just
Or maybe more, which is weird. It's a
yeah,
weird
yeah, yeah, yeah,
concept for
yeah.
powerlifters
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
understand.
No, yeah, that's why like people are always surprised. Like I don't hit singles for squat and training at all. Like the only times I hit singles are in competition. And that's just so I won't over fatigue my body. Because even if I start trying, like if I try to squat 700 and prep for a single, like if the, I'm sorry for that, I forgot I squat more than that now. But if you're like, yeah, if you're going in, I'm trying to hit like 750 on squat and like use that, like me grinding it out probably did more worse than help for my body, to be honest. Because if it probably over fatigued me, maybe it tweaked me in some type of way rather than like maybe just squatting 700 and then being like, oh, I feel confident. Like that 700 was so easy. I feel like I could squat 730 to 750 after that, like instead of using that to gauge it. But French lifters are weird, man. They just be doing their own thing. Hey, they strong. It works for them, but
Well, like, so a couple things I want to hit there. First one is when you said 700 and you're like, man, sometimes I forget that I'm past that at this point. And it's kind of like that reminder for perspective that don't forget what you're doing now a few years ago was your goals and dreams.
yeah, that's another quote. Yeah,
Don't ever
that's a
forget
good
that.
one. Yeah,
If you could, a few years ago, you take yourself 2021 and you were like, I would kill to be a world champ, best lifter at worlds at an event like Sheffield and take all three formulas on every world champ head up and to be like the pound for pound king,
yeah,
undisputed, undisputed because you got all three and be dissatisfied with it. I would kill. I would kill
yeah,
to be
yeah.
in that
Like,
position.
like me thinking about that and thinking about Perk from college for sure. Like, I would have been like whenever I squatted 300 kilos for the first time, like 2 years after that, I was still hoping to squat 300 kilos. Like, and it's crazy to think about now. It's like I always wanted to squat 700 and quit whenever I was in high school, and now I squatted like raw. This is like it's mind boggling when you sit down and actually think about it. But in the moment, but I'm not thinking about that, bro. I'm thinking about how I just got whooped and I'm in fifth place. That's what I'm thinking.
Right. I mean, like it's true. And you're like, if I don't fucking beat all the 83s a weight class up, I'm disappointed. Where it's like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
It's
people will be
crazy.
like, "What is this guy talking about?"
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's how demented you have to be to do this. To be me, you have to be this crazy. You have to be depressed for a little while, then pull yourself back out of it and be like, "Hey, let's get this shit done." Because no one else is
Right.
gonna do it for you. You wanted this goal. That's what you got to. I didn't. It's too late for me to go back now. At least I have my degree, but I'm too far into powerlifting now. I have to keep going until I'm older than Dave Ricks.
Right. Which is old, man. Which is old. Friggin' I think the perspective of like when you were a few years ago, and if you looked ahead and saw all this and you'd be like, holy shit, that's the dream. I made it. That same feeling and perspective, I think, returns in the future when you look back. And
Hmm.
all of the whatever bad taste on certain days, all of it gets washed away. When you look back, you'd be like, fucking did that, King. Like, look at what that was. I think it all returns. It's in the moment that
Hmm.
at times, which isn't always a bad thing. It keeps you motivated.
Yeah.
It keeps you on point. It makes you dissect what can I do to get better. So all of it's good. But fear not, the perspective returns. Another thing I want to touch base on that we were discussing in terms of prepping and how sometimes like thinking that you're overloading the weight is how you show how bad you want it motivation wise.
Hmm.
We have to remind ourselves. So RPE came over to powerlifting by Mike T, Mike Desher,
Hmm.
who's
Yeah.
RTS, right? This is how this happened. For anyone wondering, and to stay on point, they did a study on long distance runners and track athletes, and they found out it isn't those who were grinding that improved upon their times. They actually found that if you stay in a certain pocket, not revving the RPEs, you shave down time much
Yeah.
much quicker. To the tune of first it happened over, I think it was the Eastern Europeans started clocking. They were using because they were track athletes, beats per minute for the heart, and
Hmm.
they actually said you're done for the day. And the athletes were like, I could go more, and they're like, I understand, but we're doing this. Now we're doing like you're out of 10, you're at an 8. That's all I want you. Let's see what happens. And they started tracking it. And those athletes, percentage improvements, crazy gains. And oftentimes those athletes thought, I'm not killing myself in training though. I don't feel like I'm leaving it out there. But their times shot through the roof. And this is actual study. I remember not to get off track, I was on set. This is what I was doing, like some television and shit like that. And they had like some books in the green room. And one of the books, I shit you not, dealt with strength and conditioning. I'm like, what is this shit? And it was from the 70s. And I'm reading it, and it was RPE. And I was like, holy
Oh.
shit, for track athletes. I was reading it. And I'm like, this is wild. Because this is at the time just entering powerlifting. It was starting to get
Mhm.
going off of percentages to RPE. This is Mike T. So, anyways, Mike T came across this study himself with these other sports and said, I wonder, because not everybody, your triple shouldn't always be a specific percentage of your number one. That's not how it works
Mhm.
with everybody. But your RPE. So we brought it over to the powerlifting saying, let me get you ramped up to staying within an eight, staying within these margins.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, one of the big booms in all the athletes we saw is now everyone's doing RPE, just like it did for track athletes that happened to us. Now, I say all that. First off, hats off to Mike T, who changed the fucking game. And now every coach uses RPE. But beyond that, um, for people who think I dropped the hammer by just I'm a fucking grinder, I'm a load, I'm a force these numbers. If I don't hit this number in prep, I'm not gonna hit this number on the platform. Stay in the pocket. You might be hurting yourself. Less is more
Yeah.
sometimes. Literally proven less was more for all of those track athletes.
I think so. This is gonna I'm gonna bring this up because my wife made me feel better about this as well. I was like, shout out Elliot Sykes, super strong 74, can do some crazy stuff. Um, I was like, dang, this kid's like is a lot stronger than I was at his age. And then my wife was like, she looked at me, we were in the car, she looked at me, she said, Austin, when did you start powerlifting? I was like, around this time. He was like, yeah, okay, who coached you then? And I was like, I mean, kind of my football coach, but like we just went in and did this. And she was like, okay. When you made it, when did you have your first coach or on a program for the first time? And I was like, when I was 19. She was like, when you were 19. Yeah. This kid's 19 and he's been on a program for the past 2 years at least. You've been powerlifting since you're 12. You didn't know what you were doing. You hurt your back every day conventional deadlifting. And then you get to Midland, and then this coach puts you on a 3x5 program, and you just get insanely much stronger. And you weren't even pushing anything, like nothing was a grind. And
Mm.
I was like, yeah. And I was like, so that stuff works. And you have to realize that people start at different points and have different opportunities than you. You weren't given the opportunity where you were in a city where they actually took powerlifting seriously or a state. Like this kid knew he wanted to be a powerlifter after he did this thing, and he's been pushing and having programming since he's been getting coached. Like that's the difference between you and him at his age. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. But that's all to say, just start somewhere, get on a program. You don't have to go 100%. You don't have to go RP 10 to do something good. And actually, another thing, whenever I squatted at 315 for three, that was the hardest time I've ever squatted, and that took so much energy out of me. I was dead for like a week, it felt like. So luckily that was my last like day. That was like my last squat day of the block. But then after that, the week after, another reason Sheffield Perk was terrible. I failed the deadlift after that too. I think I tried to pause 335 on deadlift. Yeah. And I tried it twice too.
Crazy. Dude. Well,
Yeah.
the mystery solved. Dude,
No, yeah,
that's
I was that I think whenever we talk more about it, that's like me and Joe have figured out what we need to do going into worlds and everything like that. Which I'm super excited to compete against that Russian kid. Are they coming in the
yeah,
world? Yeah.
Ilya.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first off, yeah, well, let's talk about Ilya in a second. I just want to say, in terms of what you're saying about the comparisons, that your wife keep first off, your wife is like a good partner in life for you, man. Holy shit, huh?
Bro, my like
You
that is she saved my life, bro. I said on the Sheffield video, y'all thought I was playing. Like I started crying. She saved my life. I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for
yeah. Dude, that's what
her.
you want is you want some people don't understand. So they'll give you some shit that like, all right, that's not really helping, but I appreciate. Or some people worse will like cause drama in your life in the private life. And we all know buddies who are in those relationships like, God, my man, please get out of that. But the best possible scenario is somebody who's a full-on partner where you're like, yeah, you really are a plus. Like I am way better off, and that's far more rare. So hats off. But outside of that, even just talking about what were we saying about what are we talking about there? I had now a moment
We're talking about
lost me.
the comparison between
Okay, thank you. Yes, that's all I needed. So my man, you brought me back. So in terms of the comparison, like they say comparison is the thief of joy, which
mhm,
fair enough. You'll never you're the only variables you're using to compare was we both powerlift and here's our age. And then your wife's like, that in a scientific study that would never pass, my friend. There's too many
yeah.
other variables. That's not a controlled study here. Like, and then she breaks it down like you just took we both powerlift, let's look at our ages. When I was that age, and she's like, but that's like very little information. And if we blow this up to even bigger conversation, everyone is on different life path cycles of peaking.
Mhm,
You look at Jurin's, his strides in his mid 30s. You look at Megan Scanlon at Sheffield, defeated Alba, who's 15 years younger, and then defeated a returning Leah Bavois, who's a phenom. In Leah Bavois in 2022 missed weight at Worlds. And
mhm.
because of that, Megan won. Megan is 5 years older. And she won Worlds because Leah Bavois missed weight. And at 5 years older, she's got to deal with, okay, I'm only a world champion, but she felt like almost, it's not really a strong title because if Leah
Mhm.
was there, she said openly, if Leah was there, she would have killed me. Now, if she did the same perspective of what you were doing at ages, she would tell herself, Leah's 5 years younger and would kill me. I'm 5 years older. I'm going to catch up. No, I'm never going to catch up. She's 25. I'm 30 or in my 30s, like 32, 33, a mother who gave
Had
twins.
twins, twins, bro. Oh my
So
God, it's crazy.
she could tell herself with those comparisons, I'm behind the eight ball and it's not going to be possible for me to catch up to someone 5 years younger who's not a mother and doesn't have the same lifestyle. So it's not going to happen for me. So, but that's fine. Maybe I'll be happy with this. No, you fast forward 3 years later, head up competition and she defeats Leah Bavois. It's not how it works, actually. I understand your comparison, and
Hmm.
we all do this to ourselves, but it actually doesn't mean that. He might
Yeah,
have a crazy fast start, peter off, or it doesn't. The same with Germans, the progress he's had, and then he defeats
yeah.
Russ. If he did that with Russ, he'd be like, I'm 5 years older than Russ. He's way stronger than me. I'm not catching up. He's going to blow past. They go head to head and he wins. It's not how it works all the time.
I think to be honest, I think it's like I don't even know what to call this. There's probably a study on this, but I feel like it's like a double peak method, like that I'm seeing in powerlifting. Especially like with people like Jerns and Shell. It's like and like Tony Cliff too, right? Yeah, Tony Cliff's
Mm,
he's how old is Tony?
he's 40.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So you have like these periods whenever you're younger, and I think between that age of like 20 and I'd say probably like 20 and 25, like that pre 20s era, early 20s. I think you have that, and that's when you're really good and you're exploring yourself and you know what you need and like everything's good in life. And usually if you're younger at that age, you have less to worry about. So you have that going for you, and you're good, right? As an athlete. And then you have this period where you're going through life and things happen. And I'm not saying you go down like a lot. It's a big up, and then it's like you just plateaus there for there might be a little dips here and a little up and down, but then there's another one where you peak again, and that's what I'm seeing in powerlifting. I don't know if it's different in other sports or the same in other sports, but even like you said with um sorry, her name's slipping my mind. Um, who beat Leah?
Corolla Gara.
No. I'm sorry. Megan's what I'm thinking of.
Like a Scanlon. Sorry,
Um,
sorry. Okay.
yeah, Meg. Yeah. So like Meg's like a mom in her 30s. Like
Mhm.
I tell my wife that all the time. Like you're like I was like you'll be fine. You're gonna be probably stronger after you have the baby. Like it can happen. Um, like it's just crazy to me to see that these older people that I think that helps like people that are in the middle, like not their teens, but in their 20s. Like when I get to my 30s, I'm not just done. There's a chance for me to get stronger. So I look at that all the time. Like Jordan's like a big brother to me, honestly. Like he was talking me up in front of the competition, like give me advice on being a dad. being a husband, like stuff like that. Like it was really good talking to me about how I should further things in the future for powerlifting and stuff. Like was super good, really good talk. I love talking to Jordan. But like seeing him like start at a certain point and then still be a certain age and still keep getting stronger, like that's just and at the rate he's getting stronger as well. It's something to look at and be appreciative of and take consideration, you know.
I do think, like you said, when you first entered the game, there's nothing like the rise. The
Hmm.
rise is because everything's new and it's exciting and it's like, oh my God, and you're chasing the dream. There's nothing like chasing the dream. Okay. So initially, I think the momentum and the feelings towards it of chasing the dream and the goal is you'll never match that. And then when you hit it, maintaining the dream, maintaining the position feels entirely different. And
Hmm.
that's where far fewer people do it and can maintain it. Guys who have been champion in their weight class for a long time, like Russ talks about it, but there's other people in the women's side. I'm sure Amanda Lawrence can appreciate this as well. Like maintaining is more difficult because year after year you're just in there and the rise is long gone. You almost forget what it was like on the rise. So in the maintenance era, you could over critique yourself, etc. Kind of like you were doing right there, where you're like,
Hmm.
man, previously I'd be so happy with what I did, but now I'm in the maintenance mode of I got to maintain being number one. So you critique yourself, etc. And that's where the second or the second win that you're talking about in the career, I think is when that kicks in, is much like the rise, the feeling of this might be my last run. This might
Hmm.
be everything's appreciated. Everything is appreciated. Every time you show up at Worlds, that maintenance feeling is gone. When you show up then and you think this could be my last, it feels like it's your first all over again. When you first showed up at your first world championship, you're like, holy shit, that returns. And you're like,
Hmm.
oh shit. When you were get told this could be the last one, it's right around the corner. You don't know when it is, but it's coming and you feel it. And you're like, I'm going to sprint to the finish line. If this is the last, watch me sprint. And all of a sudden, that second go around, when I talk to Meg Scanlon, she ain't talking about you. She's talking about Alba Ballstrom like she's the future. Alba Ballstrom's got 10 years. Alba
Hmm.
Ballstrom's like 21, 22. She might even have more than 10 years. Meg is like, I'm mid 30s. Mother, in 10 years, I'm mid 40s. I can't think like that. I'm here at Sheffield wide eyed, like, this is it. You're going to take this from me? No, you're not, because I'm not here tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. We'll get him next time. There is no next time for me. It's right here, right now, today.
Is she on a podcast saying this? I need to listen to this. You're spitting right now. People, you're not. You're just listening and haven't seen it on video. I've been nodding. I'm like, hey, she is. Hey, this got me hyped. I was just thinking. I was like, you know who has the like the rise and fall and like the rise to the top and then low drop and then like oh I have to like that second kick. Rocky and Creed, baby. Rocky and
Yeah.
Creed movies. That's what that you just said and Megan said. That's the whole
It's,
concept I get in the movies when I'm watching it. Like that's what my pre-meet routine with my wife. We watch all the Creed movies. So one, two, and three.
mm,
And like every time, every like she knows it almost freaking word for word. She's like that. She can just remember like shows and movies. But the one that hits me in the first movie is when he's fighting, he's like, "Don't stop the fight." He's like, "Why not?" He was like, "I got to prove I'm not a mistake." That hits me so hard. That hits me. I shed a tear every time.
I ain't shitting you. Same when he said that, because I got to prove I wasn't a mistake. Like it rattled me. Also, um, when they do so much good in that Creed series, when the big Brago's son,
Hmm.
when he's in the fight of his life with him, even though Drago's son is on the other side and you're not supposed to be rooting for him, one thing that hit me, he's taking a fucking beating and it's near the end of the fight. And his mother, who never fully recognized him, when he looks off into the crowd and he saw where his mother was, she left.
Hmm.
And then he grabbed the rope and pulled himself up and's like, and his dad looked and saw that, yeah, she left. And he looks and his dad's still there. And it's like, I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna finish on my feet. Let's go.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not staying down.
yeah.
I was like, shit. He
No,
looked,
that's
there's shit pain in him.
the second one is the best one. That one's so good. No, it's like that the first scene with him saying I'm not a mistake hits me so hard because uh My parents are divorced, I guess. So they were never together whenever I was born. I still my dad and my mom, I still love them. They still in my life. They were both in my life, but they weren't there. And I felt like, and I was the first child too.
Mm,
So like my dad has kids, my mom has kids, and it's like I'm still the oldest. So like I just felt like I had to like pave the way, and everything I had to do to be is like had to be good or seen as like I succeeded in their eyes. And so like I had a point in my life where I was in high school and like I wasn't as good as powerlifting, so like there was no like making a career out of it. And I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And then I found like I was still powerlifting and I continued and I got better and like now like I have that feeling. I have that feeling that I'm not a mistake, but that's what I was working for like that whole time going through it. Before like I can say like powerlifting pays for my life. Um, like before then, like that was my goal, like to prove that I wasn't a mistake. Like you guys had me and like it wasn't bad.
mm,
let me show you. So that's why it hits me so hard about that part. Like that's crazy. But then I also told my wife that because of the Creed comparison, like this meet that happened to me is like whenever he loses the Drago's son for the first time. That's the feeling that it gave me. Like, yeah, I still won. Like I got best lifter. That's good. Like Creed in that fight won on a disqualification because he punched him when he
yeah.
was down. And so like that's what I'm feeling. And I was like, it's only up from here. I was like, I'm ready. I was like, I'm ready. Let's freaking go back to a gym that has no AC for the summer and let's freaking dog it out there. Like, give me the hammer. Let me go hammer in the sand. I'm on this next level stuff. Like, I love Creed like that. I'm like, put me in. Like, put me on some like, I want to carry the 100 kilo plate on my back and run through the free some David Goggins stuff, man.
You
Like
you
that's the type of
you
stuff I'm on.
you post a picture of like I forget if this was Creed or one of the Rocky movies where they put their foot in the tire.
Yeah,
Each guy puts a
That's
foot.
Creed
See,
too.
you
Yeah,
post a picture of just your foot in a tire. And like everyone who hears the podcast, like I know what he means. He's fighting right now.
yeah.
My man's grinding right now. That's what it was.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna find the fit photo right now.
I put
Yeah,
hashtag
that's
my hashtag put my foot in the tire. Who put it in with me, King? Put it in with me, King. When
like
Worlds comes around, like who's putting your foot in the tire with me?
yeah, like
Who's
that,
put your foot in the tire with me, kid? You know
bro. That
this.
whole
This
scene.
becomes
Oh
your
my
thing.
god, bro. Like go watch Creed 2 right now if you're listening. Stop what
Yeah,
you're doing.
yeah.
Go watch it. And when you get to the desert scene, just know that's what the whole music on it. Him falling behind the car, getting back up because he's like, I have to do this. And after he wins the freaking first foot in the tire, he gets so hype. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's the
Dude,
feeling I
you
want when I'm going through this
you
stuff.
know if you're all fucked up and you're going out for that third pull or whatever, and Joe whispers in your ear, put your foot in the tire, King. I know you're hurting right now. Put your fucking foot in that tire right now with everybody watching. You'd be like, say less. Say less. We're going.
That's it, man. Oh my god, I'm about to go watch this movie right now.
Yeah, yeah, me
Are we
too.
done here? Are we done here?
Me too. Everybody listening is like, some people haven't seen it. Like, well, I'm gonna watch it now. Jesus, it's life changing, life changing.
Yeah, bro, it's a good man. It's a good pre-ritual. Like I love it. She like I did it the first one, and she asked me the second time, my second competition, do I want to do it again? And I was like, yeah. And then we went to the third competition. And we were like, this is our tradition now. And I was like, yeah. And like I love it. It gets me motivated. It gets me in the right headspace. Like after I watched that, I was like, I'm ready. I was like, let's go to Sheffield, baby. I was like, let's go. Like we just have to
I,
push through it, man. That's it.
I. So looking at this, obviously Shell moved down, and since then Taylor's moved up.
Hmm.
In your mind's eye, like motivation wise, etc. Does this affect you? Does this matter? Are you like, damn it, man?
I mean, you know how I feel about the wanting to go against Taylor. I like that's
Right.
still like my goal. If I have to move up one day, hopefully, if or when or if I move up one day, he's still at 83 and he's still capable of giving his all. I would love to do it. Actually, Carl Johansson was at my table at the banquet, and I told him, I looked at him, I said, "How does it feel to live my life?"
To
He was like,
what?
"To live
To
my
live
life."
your
I was like,
uh,
how does it feel to live my life?" Because he was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Bro, you beat Taylor." Then he was
yeah.
like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Yeah, bro." It's just I'm like, I can't believe it. I was like, I can't believe it. That's what I want. That's all I've ever wanted. And I was like, you got it. He was like, but then he was honest. Carl was really cool. He was just like, I mean, it wasn't his best day. Like, I mean, yes, I still won, but I was like, hey, like Ryan told you, you're still world champ. You look back, your name is on that list, so it doesn't
Right.
matter.
It's sports.
But yeah, yeah, I was like, hey, you did it. You could have just had a bad day and not won, even if he
Yeah.
did was not having his best day. I was like, you still could have lost, but you won. So I mean, I think that's good. But no, yeah, that's with Shell though. I mean, if he stays down, I guess that's good for him. Um, I will say, I feel like it's messed up how he boosted the world record twice and then switched weight classes because he was asked to.
Foul. Foul. This man is
So
playing checkers.
diabolical.
Or sorry, he's playing chess here. Exactly. It's like, okay, cool, man. What is this all about? Are you
That
gonna
that set with me wrong. That set with me wrong. I was just like, all right, bro,
that's
that's cool, I guess.
that's mad foul. Um, but it is like what does it matter? You're highly motivated now. But does it matter to you? Do you long for the days if not Taylor, like Taylor at some point, he'll because his reemergence 83s is exciting. So maybe that'll carry on. It kind of depends
Hmm.
on timeline wise. There's a difference in age, so we'll see. But
Yeah.
even anybody like Shell there at Worlds helped. Does it matter overly or right now it doesn't matter because you have a taste in your mouth you want to remove. But moving forward, you would like to have, like, for instance, what Russ has with some adversaries in 83s, or some people in there to be like chasing or like, oh, there's a big showdown. Do you think at some point you'll need that? Or are you kind of like, look at the pound for pound formulas, et cetera, is good for me as long as that'll be the motivation?
Yeah, that's definitely my main motivation because I want my name on that. I want to at least be top five. I mean, top 10 all time, like tested, untested. Like that's one of the legacies I want to cement before I hang up the shoes, whatever you want to say, put down the wrist wrap. I don't know. Like that's my goal to be top 10. Um, like so, I mean, it really doesn't matter about anything else. I think as long as I keep the narrative going about wanting to beat the 83s, I think that's good. I think that'll work out for me. People are always going to be talking. Um, I mean, I guess I kind of want that like young gun challenge because I guess I'm getting kind of older. I'm 26, but I don't feel like that's that
That's
old. But um,
it might take a minute.
yeah,
Might take a minute.
but like I'm ready for like these other like rising lifters to come up and because I know the Russian kid's a really good
Yeah, let's
deadlifter.
talk about Ilya. Uh,
Yeah.
Good segue. You're right. I
What's
said
what's
let's
what's
put a
his
pin for a sec.
what's how do you pronounce his name?
So let me pull up his last name.
Because I mean I
I'm
don't want to keep calling him the Russian kid. I want to actually
what
like
was
I like to give people props where their props are given. So I don't want to just say Russian kid.
right. So it's Ilya, and let me see how to
Ilya.
pronounce his last Ilya Marichev, Marichev, Ilya Marichev. So, if that's exactly how I pronounce it, I'm not
Yeah.
sure, obviously. But Ilya, he's a kid who previously, as a 66, he was super young. And I remember asking Penna, who are you afraid of? This is when Penna was the champ. And he's like, I'm going to tell you right now, yes, there's a lot of big 66s, but Ilya's the one kid that I'm the most worried about. I see his progress. But Penna said if he stays 66, if he goes 74, whatever. But Ilya now, and I believe he's still a junior, he's young as hell.
Yeah, he's gonna
Russian,
be a
to your
junior.
point, so he hasn't been in the international scene due to being a Russian athlete, but they're returning. And Ilya is capable of being 800 and up, and he's young.
Yeah.
He's the next young. He's the next. As a matter, Elliot Sykes, we love Elliot Sykes. Tons of hype on him. But Ilya's there's people in on the other side of the world who are like, my friend, it's Ilya, not Elliot. You got to worry about. And
Yeah.
he seems like he's right poised.
Yeah, his deadlift is really good. His I feel like Elliot has the squat, Ilya has the deadlift, and both of their benches are still kind of they're developing because they're younger.
Mm,
Um, but like they both have that. I wouldn't say one up on me because Elliot's squat is almost good, but it's not like he definitely will be squatting. I think near 700. Probably not this year, but sometime soon. And then uh, Elia, he's like he basically hit the deadlift world record at his last competition. They just caught him on soft lockout, which is crazy because some other people their lockouts definitely look more locked out than that. But
Right.
I don't know,
Right.
man. I thought it was a good lift. I think he broke it by like zero point 0.5 kilos. So I think he hit 340 and he tried to hit 340 and a half, which is really good. If I can just get back to that. I just swear squat just wants to be like it's just consuming all of the kilos from everything else. Um, but no, yeah, I think it's gonna be a good matchup. I'm ready for that matchup the most, like either of them. Um, shout out Elliot for not signing up for PLA Nats. Thank you for saving me my world spot. I appreciate that. um, but no, yeah, I think I'm ready to go against both of those guys. I think it'll be good. I've never went up against someone that was younger than me yet because I was always the youngest coming up. So I was always the young gun. So I guess I
Mm.
want the feeling of Taylor of like being like, hey, look, pipe down a little bit, like he did me whenever I was in college.
It's weird. Yeah, you stuck around long enough to be the one they're chasing, and you stuck
Yeah.
around long enough to see the next wave. Like
Hmm.
you were the wave coming to the top to the shoreline that everyone's like, oh shit. And now you're the guy who sees the wave coming, and people are like, here they come. We've never
Yeah.
seen this before at this age. And you're like, again, yeah, exactly that. You're like, okay, I got you. You at your
Yeah.
age are doing phenomenal, but not yet.
Yeah.
Not your time yet.
Yeah. Like I'm not. I still got all my limbs. I'm not limping around here yet. Not
Yeah, yeah.
limping yet. You get like you got, and I'm lucky too because Worlds is before my baby girl is born. So
Thank
like
God.
after Worlds, I'm chilling for a little while until Sheffield. Like also just to go back when we were talking about when we said less is more. I think like Cheryl and Taylor had it figured out. Taylor said he doesn't compete unless he's like 3 blocks out, 2 blocks out. So like I don't even know how many weeks of that, but 2 or 3, like 3 blocks out is basically when he starts. Like he would take some time, he would go to the gym, but he wouldn't like push powerlifting training. And then Shell only trains 3 days a week. So I mean, like I think those guys have it figured out because they have families. So like I feel like that's
Mm.
what I'm probably going to be merging more towards, and maybe I'll see it start to play out. I don't know, but yeah, man, I think they're going to come. I think it's gonna. I hate saying it like that. I know they're approaching, and it's gonna be hard to slow him down. But like, I'm not just gonna give up and give in. You know, like Taylor could do it at older than me. I'm only 26. I'm only getting better at this point. I'm still healthy, no major injuries. I'm chilling, man. Just let me reach my flow state and I'll be good.
That's right. And how do you feel about we had this discussion on the recap show, and I briefly was talking to Penna about possibly moving up to 74. Now, Penna didn't do a water cut, just no water cut. Penna's at Sheffield. He didn't have the day he wanted, but he's hit 713 at Worlds. He hit 707. All he did was not water cut, and he hit 730 with like no peak or anything. He's always ready-ish, right? Like he always hits a heavy lifts, but he's like, let me just. It was kind of a fun meet, and he just
Mm-hmm.
didn't water. He didn't water cut. He hit 730, and he thinks maybe I'll continue on for a little bit more at 66, at least to World Games, etc., because he qualified. So why not? But he said he'll probably do another fun one, not do a water cut, aim for closer to the mids like 740 something, etc. And it's you've seen Penna, he's tall for a 66,
Mm-hmm.
incredibly ripped. There's striation when he cuts, there's striations all over. And I was telling him, my friend, if you start getting around 740ish, whatever, as a 66 who's just didn't water cut, your body didn't increase at all. You're just not water cutting and dehydrating. And that's all. You're still 66. If you went from 66 to 77 and cut 3 kilos of water, where might your total be? Instead of 740, are you doing the reverse shell and you're adding and getting closer to that 800 mark? Are you now? And I'm like, Penna, can you imagine a super jacked 800 kilo total Penna and what you might bring to the conversation of 74? And you have a monster and shell at 66 to deal with. You'll have a monster and perk at 74 to deal with. But either way you go, you have a monster anyways. It all works out in the wash in terms of that.
Yeah.
What would you say Penna should do?
No, yeah, I say come up. I say, well, even if I wasn't there, bro, I would say go up. He's too tall to be a 66. And like, to be honest, I think he'll be up there with, he would pass, he would be up there with Elliot, Ella, and Elia and him. I think they would all be together around that like 800 to like 820.
Mm.
Um, I would say go up. Yeah, I think he would add a shit ton to his bench. And I feel like his squat would probably go up a lot more. His deadlift, I don't know. It's because he's conventional. So I mean, I have no clue what the translation would be. But I feel like those other two for sure. Like
For sure.
he'd probably be benching around the same thing as me or close enough. And then his squat would be well in the 600s. I say
Yeah,
probably around like I give him like 650 because he can grind. So like around 650.
because he in the gym does like in the 740s and whatnot. And then when he finally didn't water cut, it's like, my friend, your kilos, it's the water cut. And that's not even added body weight, like you're walking around body weight, it's just the water. If you just you've already won world titles. He's about to do world games. He's done two Sheffields. I'm like, you've said a lot to be said at 66.
Mm-hmm.
You should be comfortable. Here's the thing, and we could talk about the 83s too in a second here, but there's always someone else. So he's like, I don't want to, like, nobody wants to appear as though they're leaving when someone comes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with like Russ in the 83s. He just retook the world record and he's currently has the biggest 83 kilo total we've ever seen. But there's Joey B coming. And then, well, Shell dropped down for Penna and whatnot. It's like, but there'll always be someone else. Eventually, if you make, so Taylor said, my biggest mistake, I think, if I look back, was I should have tried to move up to 83 once in my prime, like in South Africa 2022, went for a world title up. If you look at other people in other showdowns, it's good. You don't want to miss a good showdown. But if you get too outside, sometimes you don't look at yourself and be like, what is best for me right now? What is my body telling me, etc. And you're worried about what other people might be saying. Like, what if they say I duck this guy, or what if they think, who gives a shit? Like,
Yeah,
sometimes
I think for Pana is just like just go up, bro. I don't care what anyone says. I mean, I don't think he's ducking. I think he's bro. He should have went up so long ago. Like he's one of those people where it's like, oh, okay, like we understand it. Like you put to make weight, bro. But it's like if it's like you're not making like a huge major cut, then I feel like it's kind of more like you're running away if someone enters your weight class. But like Russ has to make a cut. He has already done a meet at 93 anyway. So I mean, like go up, bro. For sure, go up. Um, I mean, no one else is really just dropping weight classes like that. So I mean, going up a weight class or moving weight classes because of something else. But yeah, I think it's smart for people to do as long as it's going to make you better, you know, or like you've been stagnant for a while, you know, like that makes sense. Like, but if you're this easy, it's like me, you're easy to make weight, and it's like I saw Pana moving up, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go 83, or I'm gonna move down to 66. Then it would be like he definitely ran away from competition, you know. I love calling people out for running away from competition, but no, I don't think Panda or Russ is doing it. I'm surprised Russ went back down to 83 because he still could have done really good at 93. That makes no sense to me. I don't know why he did that. Maybe he just want to cement his legacy more. I don't know, but no, yeah, I think he's going to be crazy at 93 when he goes up to 90. That's going to be good to watch.
so we were talking about this also on the recap show where last time when Russ was in 83, he was at that time doing 840s. He went up
Mm-hmm.
to 90 in South Africa or South Korea on
Yeah,
the other
so
side
Korea.
of the world. And it literally, like, that's I've never been to South Korea, but it's a crazy flight, time zone
Mm-hmm.
changes, not optimal. And his total went from 840s to 880s literally immediately shot up 40 kilos because he's like, let me just eat, be big, strong, smash weights, and prep as a larger human being. 40 kilos off the hop. Now, since then, he returned to 83s and slowly crept his total as an 83 up to obviously 870. And probably he almost got the last deadlift to get into 880s. If he was like 2.5, 4 or 5 kilos less, probably would have got it. And he'd be nudging right on the door of 880s as an 83. I'm not saying he goes, if he jumps up a weight class, he throws another 40 on top of that again, but it's probably going to shoot up just like last time. His body is telling him, hey, my dude, you're strong, but you said all you need to say there. And in terms of
Yeah.
get out while it's sweet, you returned as an 83 to the world stage. took an L, ended up setting yourself up for a good storybook, like Rocky
Hmm.
style, Creed style, come back with the world watching in their hometown. There's two of them this time.
Oh, dang, that's
You
crazy.
know,
Yeah.
it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And then you rally back with all the naysayers. You can't hit death. You can't meet the standard. Everything was against you, and you retook it. It'll never get better. It'll never get sweeter. Now you move. Make a
Yeah.
move. So timing is everything as well. And the whole talk of, well, Joey B's coming, you're trying to avoid Joey B. Man, who gives a shit? Let Joey B should say you're ducking me. That's his play. That's his narrative. Use the narratives given to you. But you shouldn't care when he does, because you know what he's doing and he should. Like, it makes him look better to say that. Because Russ is a huge star in the sport.
Hmm.
So if you say like a claim to fame, like I chased him out of the division, whatever, well, he should though. He should. What's the narrative to control to bump yourself? It makes you look fearsome. It makes you.
Hmm.
I made the greatest 83 of all time leave. On the flip side, Russ should be saying to himself, "Yeah, but who are you to make me stick around? Who are you to make me chill even longer in a weight class I've grew out of? I've already done it, kid. You haven't done anything yet. So who are you?" Again, I'm sorry. So like they both have the narratives and they're both right. They should both play
Yeah.
those fields. But for Russ, be the guy in pole position calling shots and be like, no, I call the shots and I'm moving now because it's better for me. And
Yeah.
then it's like you rewrite the chapter. Now you're the underdog all over again. And people can, because when you're on top for so long, they only root for you to lose. But when you become the small guy going against giants, all of a sudden you're the underdog again. And it's like, oh, let's see what
Yeah.
people react to it.
Not gonna lie, I might have to pull up to PLA Nats next year just so I can watch that because that's gonna be nice, bro. That's gonna be a nice. It's like, especially if like one of them has to come back too, like that would be crazy. Like Gavin, Keiko, Petrie, Russ. Is there anyone else? Is there who else is in 93?
Probably. I mean, dude, there's too many. There's Meach and there's some new guys coming over from USAPL.
All I'm saying is, bro, that's gonna be a crazy session. Like PLA better get a nice venue for that because that's going to be nice. Yeah, that's
83s too. All over the place is
yeah,
going to be
83 is
freaking
too.
crazy.
Yeah, that's gonna. I'm so sad I can't go this year. It's just in a couple weeks, right?
April.
April. Okay, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's not that far, I guess.
Sort of. I mean, it depends who you are. Some people, they don't
Yeah,
give a
yeah,
shit. Some people will rough them right the hell up, and it depends on what happened to you when you're at Sheffield as well.
yeah. I'm definitely wouldn't make it. I'll be like, nah, sorry, can't do it.
And you make, so with these people bouncing around weight classes, and Bob is like, he's been very vocal, and actually Jonathan Garcia attacked Shell, and they went back, dude, what the fuck? First off, what the fuck is going on here? Jonathan Garcia came on the Kingless podcast and was like, I just want to ask Cassim saying to his face, does that motherfucker feel like a world champion? Because you tied us and won on body weight, and you weren't stronger than us on the day. And I'm like, God damn, my man is firing shots. And he referred to Penna as an influencer. He's like, I don't know. I just wouldn't have took an influencer over me when we faced each other twice and I beat him twice. I'm like, God damn, he's firing shots. And then he's saying about Shell, he's like, dropping weight classes is like a bitch move. I'm paraphrasing. I don't know if he said bitch move, but he was like, it was along those lines, saying
Hey,
like
he
that's
got that
cowardly.
thing loaded. He
Yeah,
got it
dude, he's
loaded.
firing
He just letting
shots.
it off. Oh
He's
my
firing shots.
God.
And he was even like, him and Wasker are friends, but he was even like, there's no, I asked him, would you think about dropping weight? Because you could, like, maybe you could get down to 59. And he's like, yeah, but like, where's the challenge now? I go to 59, I'm definitely winning. Like, I was like, shit. He's like,
Oh
it's not
my
even a challenge.
God.
I was like, wow. He was
Hey,
he fires he was firing from the hip. And then him and Shell's like with the shit, he goes, all the shit you talked on that podcast, you see me face to face, you didn't say none of that. And then Jonathan is like, I mean, I'll say it to your face, I'm not backing down. And then someone's talking about a boxing match, and Shell is like, I'm game. And I'm like, okay, guys, settle down.
please, please, please. I want to see it. Let's put it on Netflix. Sign the Netflix deal right now.
God,
The live deal. I need it. I need it, bro. Oh my
this
God.
is this is it's getting spicy as shit. I don't
Damn.
know.
I'm about to start talking shit now too. Damn, I'm about to.
Now those boys are putting the foot in the tire.
Hey, that's putting the foot in the tire
Jonathan
right
Garcia,
there.
Jonathan Garcia put his foot in the tire. That's what he did, and he said,
He
"Come,
said, "Come
someone
on."
put it in with
He
me."
said, "Come on, let's go."
Yeah,
Hey, he said, "I'm sending shots, and whoever catch them, catch them."
yeah. Fire him back if you will. Yeah, it's spicy.
Nah.
But what are your thoughts about it? Like moving up, moving down, and all the weight class jumping. Bob was like, he's not. He's like, if anything, I'm moving up, just chasing. I don't move down. I don't like.
Yeah,
He's.
I
What do you
think
think?
I think it's I think it's good for like some people like Taylor what he did. I think it's fine. Um, I still think he could have won against me at that PLA match, but we don't got to speak on that. I'll let him have his time. Um, I think that's fine though. I think he moved up because he definitely would be healthier if he moved up to 83. So like I don't blame him for that. Russ moving up, that makes sense. He needs to cut. Bob moving up is like that's just gonna be hard. That's a grown man. Bob a grown man. He said, "I'm gonna take it." Like he wants. That's like whenever I think I listened to you and Gavin talk about. I don't know if it was Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson, but talking about like taking them down in the trenches and like just round after round after round. That's the type of stuff Bob's on. He's like, I'm about to get every session. I don't even know. Does Bob post? Has he posted anything?
It's
I
been a
don't even know.
minute,
I
but
think,
Rondell
yeah.
has. Did you see
No, yeah,
Rondell's
Rondell has.
last
Yeah, yeah,
deadlift?
yeah, yeah. I saw Rondell's last day, but I'm just saying. I feel like Bob right now is just like he's down somewhere like just training. He doesn't care. Like he's in Antarctica right now, cold place. Can't even hold on to the bar. Like I think that's the type of time that Bob's on. Like I always give people who always have my respect and I always say I have to worry about Ashton and Bob. Ashton and Bob are always wild cards to me. I could never go into a competition and not worry about them. So like I'm not saying it's gonna be easy. Am I saying it's possible? Anything's possible.
Hmm.
But I can see if anyone making an upset out of it, it would be Bob. I would say that. Do I think Rondell's going to lose on a bad day and Bob's on 100%? Maybe. But
Hmm.
that's just going to be tough because just what Rondell's been doing. You know, like we just seen more visual. So, Bob, if you hear this, I'm not saying you can't do it. I think it could go either way. I don't want because I like Rondell and I like Bob. So I'm not trying to get no beef and be like one's better than the other, bro. It just whatever happens on the day, Rondell up one because I've seen. That's it.
The reason
Shut.
I love like Rondell, you can't help but feel for him. He got caught up in politics, and he deserves flowers and roses. Like he deserves his moment, is what he deserves.
Mhm.
We'll see what the heck happens with him. So and he's awesome too. But Bob also, so there's reason to like him, and his story is so freaking good. And then for Bob, there's something great about that David versus Goliath. The guy who's like, I move up,
Mhm.
and I'm the big game hunter. There's something big about that big game hunter. And when that guy squares off with someone who's outweighs him by so much, it's awe inspiring. And that's where you can't help but like, so it intrigues me.
Yeah.
But what's going to happen? I don't know. That one deadlift that Rondell just posted, where it's like 900 and whatever the hell pounds,
Yeah, bro.
420 something kilos, is like, what are we doing here? Where's your total? Are you going after Jesus at this point? Like, what the
Yeah,
hell is that?
I need to know what's going on. I want you to step on the scale so I can see how much you weigh, and I
Yeah,
need to look at your program. Show me your program, man. I need to know
yeah.
what you got. You hide something
That was not
because
programmed single. I guarantee you that was
nah,
not a programmed single. Nobody
nah.
programs that.
You definitely jumped 20 kilos on that deadlift. There was
Yeah,
supposed to be 20
yeah.
kilos left. You can't tell me otherwise. But
Do you?
no, yeah, I think. But
Well, I was just gonna say, do you long for a possible Bob situation where you were the David going against Goliath, just for fun, not at Worlds, like keep racking world titles, but
oh yeah, for sure. I think I'll definitely go up because I have to make sure I'm one of the best people ever. I don't think it can be specifically based on pound for pound. I have to win. Me and Joe have already talked like this. I have to win multiple weight classes. So in my head, the goal is to eventually one day soon, within the next 4 years for sure, to go up to 83. Um, and like win an IPF title, like world title. That's like the goal. And then after that, if I win that, just weighing right above 83 again and trying the 93s.
My God.
Yeah. Like I gotta he told me he was like, if you want to be on the same level as Ed Cohen, you need three in different weight classes. So it's either you drop down to 66 and then you go 83 at some point, or you go 83 and you go 93. And I was like, I don't feel like cutting. And I was like, I'll just keep going up at that point. Which it would be a long time before I got to 93 because like if I'm like I said, if I'm eating my fill and I'm just like walking around eating whatever, drinking whatever, I'm sitting around like 76, 77. So to get to like past 83, where I would have to eat so much. I don't even know if my body is like capable of eating that much food to put on to weigh 83.1. You know, I would have to weigh in with like as much as they let me weigh in and I might like take a shower and not dry off. I wear my socks, underwear, everything, like jewelry. I'm wearing my Apple Watch. I'm keeping my phone in my pocket. Like that's what I might have to do to make over 83 to make 93.
Friggin' I mean, you could chug tons of I've when I'm water loading, sometimes like back when I was competing, I would weigh in to see where I'm at. And if you chug tons of water, you could put on like 15 pounds of water. Like you just drink tons. You'll feel like you're gonna have to pee immediately. But you could
Yeah,
for sure superficially gain weight, even if they made you strip. Your body can, while water loading, can retain tons of water. So
that's actually what I did for one of my college meets, one of my last equip competition. I think I went 83, and I was not, back then I was not 74 consistently. So like I literally like had water and Gatorade while I'm at weigh-ins, just chugging. Everyone else is like,
you're doing
"What
it
is this guy
backwards.
doing?"
Yeah, people like, dude, did you? They're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, the guy, I think the guy that I beat was like one of the people that won like with podium for the Pro Series over in USAPL. Like he was a super strong equipped 83 guy, and he got so pissed because I won. I won by like I think 2.5 kilos, and he was like, "What the bro?" Because there was a guy that I wouldn't have beat if I would have moved up, but he dropped out of the competition. So this guy thought he was going to win, and we waited till the last day to switch the weight classes too for the weight class change. And he was like, he was so pissed. I feel so bad for him. That might have been his last college competition too.
Really?
Like, so sad. I'm so sorry, bro.
Seeing
But yeah,
you
that's what I'm gonna do
artificially
though.
load. Like, so dropping down, because a lot of people drop down. You wouldn't consider, like, I don't know if you got a nutritionist that was, or you might already have one, but that dropped you down a what? Like, you don't think it's even a possibility, water cut, nutritionist?
I just don't want to. I can do the nutritionist to help me gain more, but I'm not trying to lose any weight, man. Like I haven't been a 66 since freaking high school. Like I'm saying that like I'm super old, but like high school has been a while from now, and I have different eating habits, and I'm not trying to starve myself to get down or like eat these certain things to get down. It's just not in the cards for me, man. And I don't want to feel that small either, to be honest. And it would definitely hurt my confidence knowing I'm still not as strong and trying to accept that.
Mm.
Oh well, I'm just at a lower weight because me instead considered it because people were telling me to move down to 66 like right after I had gotten my invite, like before we knew any of the weight class changes or whatever. And I was just like, I was like, I could do it to my wife, and she was like, could you do it though? Like you probably could make the weight, but to be honest, I'm not gonna want to be around you, and you're not gonna want to be around yourself. And I was like,
Mm.
that's true. I was like, that's very, very true. So that's why I said I think going up would be easier. If anything, maybe I do a thing where I go up to 83, then I move back down to 74, and then try to do it that way, like a back and forth. Um, I don't know, or try to win two in both if I can never gain like over that weight. I don't know, man. It's just like whatever I can do to like be on a level to where I'm not powerlifting anymore and people compare me to like Ed Cohen, like that's what I want. I want people to like go to competition and be like, oh, this guy was really good, but did you know about Austin Perkins? Or like, oh, hey, do you know who this is? Like, I want to leave that type of legacy. I want people to be like, oh, well, he was the best, like undoubtedly. They can always compare me to John Hack. Me and John actually, we talked about everything whenever we did the shoot together. But yeah, that's my goal. Like, I want to leave a legacy that I was the best, and like people can definitely be better or be better in that moment. But like, at least like I'm cemented forever in the sport. Like you could hear my name in the US and hear my name in Germany, and people would be like, oh, okay, I know who you're talking about when it comes to power, if you know powerlifting, you know, for
Mm.
generations and generations to come.
Yeah, I don't know three weight classes like if you would have to do three to do it fast tracks it because no one's done it. So once you do
Hmm.
something no one's done 100%, right? Like Agatha's going to attempt to do that herself. But I don't know if it's not the only pathway. I think you might
Yeah.
be right that if you win multiple in two, you win that would be absolutely phenomenal. And then possibly let's see what happens with Sheffield or World Games, etc. There is pathways. The comparisons are tough because to Ed Cohen, it's an entirely different. It
Hmm.
was it was equipped. It was a lot of caveats. My man popped several times, and there's controversy around it. So there's a lot of it's a whole different era. So the comparisons are very difficult when people. Same with John Hack. John Hack was an IPF world champ, absolutely phenomenal athlete. He's in the untested now, and the comparison it gets difficult to do those type of comparisons.
Yeah. Yeah. Me and John's always like, whenever we were talking, he was like, yeah, bro, I don't understand why people just keep comparing us. Like, we aren't totally different.
It's very difficult.
He's like, bro, like you're doing this completely natty. Like it's crazy. Like, and you do it on a 24-hour weigh-in. He was like, there's literally no comparison. He was like, it's just literally it's apples to oranges. You can just say they're both fruits, and that's basically the only comparison. Like
Mm.
with us, we're both powerlifters. Literally only comparison.
Mm-hmm. It's yeah. I mean, I remember when Taylor was in your shoes, and he was like, remember, like he hopped on here. Was like, people. I used to say Hack was better than me, but I'm better than John Hack. I am. I don't like that compare. Remember, he came on there, and then John clapped back, and all of a sudden it became a freaking thing between the two. Friendly. I mean, they were on the same
Yeah,
Team USA back in 2016, but it became still like a bit of a sports debate. However, the actual comparison is very difficult. And John is like a man on an island almost over in the untested because
yeah,
as of you know, in the depth of competition, it's not the same either. Obviously,
yeah.
um,
That's what I told him. I was like, yeah, I really don't know anyone on the tested side besides you. Like
on the
they do
untested,
like
yeah.
this, yeah, on the untested side. Yeah, I don't know anyone besides you. And I was like, they do this ABS thing, but that's so foreign to like the tested lifters. Like no one like honestly just pays attention to it that I've heard of. No one's ever talked to me about it, or I'm not like after like, I think I follow them, so like that's how I see it. But no one like talks about it. So like I don't know who any of those guys are either. But they're super strong guys. But like the only person that I know that's untested like name is like John Hack. Only thing that I've ever heard is ever John Hack.
Well, you like look at talent pool wise. If you look at some tested lifters, you guys, some of you guys will have the records in the untested. Just to talk about talent pool, it matters. Like I'm not trying to down the
Yeah,
untested or whatever, but just speaking honestly, the amount of people in the tested division is far greater. So you have a far bigger talent pool, and you have individuals at the top peak of that talent pool whom are beating untested records. That should tell you a lot. Same with the ladies. Sonita is just a few kilos off of having the biggest total in powerlifting tested or untested. She's 4 kilos away. Jesus Oliveras has already done that. Like the talent pool on the tested side is far deeper. It's the
yeah,
same as like if people don't understand this, it's like go back into powerlifting circa 2013 and look at the totals that were winning world titles in 2013
hmm,
and look at the totals now. The talent pool in 2013 was far more shallow. We didn't have
hmm,
those the same athletes we have now. Yes, programming has changed and blah blah blah, but there's other variables. I
yeah.
agree, but
I
honestly,
do.
when you shallow up the talent pool,
What do you think is the reason that so many? Because I'm just picking your brain on this. I just want to have the conversation now at this point.
hmm,
What do you think makes people say when people are stronger than the untested lifters that they're clearly on something? Like I just call it cope all the time. That's why I just like
of
people
course,
just say I'm not They're like, oh, you're not natty at all. Like, why are you lying? And it's like, I was like, bro, look, if you want to pay for yourself, come down here. You can come stay with me and my wife, and you'll see how I live. And I can tell you, I don't take anything. I'm about to just start back taking creatine. This has been a year. Like, I take 110 pre-workout. I take the focus capsules. That's all I take, man. This is just, it's genetics and the work that I put in and leverages, which is part of genetics. Like that's all it is, man. Like they're just always freaks of nature in places, you know. So I don't understand. So what do you think the underlying thing? 'Cause I don't feel like a lot of high level power lifters like fail drug tests either. Like it's not like an abundance amount of people will be like, oh well, like it's all dirty, you know. Like it's been like specks here and there, and it's not even like I don't feel like it's ever like top 10 either.
So 100%, I think some of the actual athletes over there in the untested, not all of them, but some of them might look at the numbers they're putting up and they're amongst the elite in the untested. So they tell themselves, I am an elite level athlete. And then they look over in the tested side and say, you are an elite level athlete. We're comparable, we're comparable, and our numbers are the same. Therefore, I surmise you must be doing what I'm doing. But they're, to an extent, they're trying to be willfully ignorant because the harsher reality might be, what if you're not as elite as you think you are? You just are elite amongst a very small talent pool, a very shallow talent pool, and you're a big fish in that pond. And that's very difficult to wrap your head around. That takes away from their accomplishments. And
Mm-hmm.
that takes away from their goals. And that takes away from the significance of their goals they're chasing. And that's tough to deal with. It really, really is. You don't, that's a perspective you don't necessarily want. I've actually had conversations, people telling me that I shit you not, a guy in the untested multiply who's saying he's a multiple time world champion. Tell me the last time you heard of that world championship untested multiply where it was probably in a freaking gym somewhere. But he was literally commentating on one of the female world champions, IPF world champion though. And he's like, and people are beating him up in the comments saying, you're talking about a world champion. And he's like, I'm a world champion too. And people looked at his profile and say, my dude, you have 1,000 followers for good reason, not because you're being overlooked or, the insiders hate me. I'm the best kept secret. It's because here's what's harsher. You're not a world champion in reality. This isn't, so the best way to cope anyways is what I'm saying is to be like, no, they're on gear. We're all in the same level playing field. Yes, I am on the level. I am. They're just cheating. That's why. It's a whole lot harsher reality to be like, hold on a second. What does this mean if Perk isn't?
Mm-hmm.
What does this mean if Rondell, Bob, none of them are on gear, but they're putting up similar numbers to me? What does that mean?
And
It
so, do
means
you think the public thinks the exact same way?
so the public's a little bit different. The public has been, due to mainstream major sports, which you can make millions of dollars if you hop on gear and you're used to people popping and you tell yourself, why wouldn't you for a $20 million contract? And you could change your life and your family's life and give generational wealth to your daughter, your daughter's daughter, and everything. And you're, let's say baseball, you're coming out of Dominican Republic and you're like, you're going to change everybody you know's life. You're going to cheat. You that person, you'd be like, well, shit, yeah. So people are used to seeing this with sports. And they apply, well, you're naive if you don't think a lot of people are going to be like, I'll rest easy on my conscience, knowing I just gave my family generational wealth. And we don't come from a wealthy nation or a wealthy background. Even if you come from an average background, you're not crazy hurting. The it's like winning the lottery, right? So you see it more often in bigger sports. So when people see that over and over and over, and they put it in their mind's eye, if sports are dirty, then they look to powerlifting. They're applying the same, and they're like, "Well, don't be
Okay.
naive. Well, don't be naive. Oh, come on, yeah, yeah, yeah. Just like so and so popped. This guy popped. Tiger Woods, even they're talking about, and that's golf. It's like, yeah, there's a huge difference between like what would Perk get for doing this? It's not the same. It's not the same. Um, so people applying that also, it's difficult for them to. a little bit of the same mentality I talked about the untested. I know guys in the gym, they see like a guy like Russ who's like crazy jacked. And they're like, come on, seriously? Because they go to the gym 5 days a week and grind like crazy, and they're not even close. And it's difficult to tell them there are genetic outliers walking this world. And yes, there's a difference like that. Yes, there is.
Like, I don't know why people don't compare it to like people who are geniuses or have high IQs. Like,
Right.
they aren't just everywhere. Like, you're gonna walk down the street, you might run into one person, but walking down the street, that's it. That's all you're gonna find for that day, basically. Like, so like, why can't it be like that for body genetic types and strength types? You know, like
Mhm.
I don't understand why people find like they just like it just can't be true. Like, I don't understand the not being able to fathom that. Okay, yeah, I mean it could be true. I mean, there's so many there's people born with birth defects, and it's not like every person you see, but it's like a random defect. So is that fake? Did that happen fakely? Like, no, it just genetically that's just what happened to him. I don't know, man. It's just my like I always say, my wife just tells me, she's like, these people don't know anything. Also, another quote no I saw is when people talk to you on social media, they only have one perspective of your life. And that's the perspective they're basing everything off of, like as you as a person. So like they see me, they're just like, oh, he's probably just this happy-go-lucky guy. He's super strong. Like he's the best pound for pound in the world. Like his life must be great. He must not worry about anything in his life. And it's like that's how I portray myself. But I mean, I still have worries. I still go through things. Like things happen. I get upset. I get sad. Like, but to people on there, they're just like, oh, well, this is the type of person there is. Like the comparison is like whenever you're driving in the car and someone cuts you off and you get upset with that person, that's the only thing you know about that person
Mhm.
is that they cut you off. And you have that negative attitude towards them now because that's all they did to you. But this person could be one of the nicest people ever, could give half of their check to donation. They're, I said beautiful, amazing dad, something like that. Like, you know, like they can have all these good aspects and all you know is that negative thing that you see because that just happened. Like, you can't take everything at face value. You know, like some
Mm.
things are just different. Some people are just different, man. Like, I hate to say it, but people like me, Jesus, Rondell, just literally built different. Like that's just what it is.
Literally. So a couple things off of that. First off, yes, they're genetic outliers both ways. To your point, we see genetic anomalies, and they're literally people who their body will not stop creating growth hormone, and their heads, hands, certain parts of the body will never stop growing right up until they die young at like four in their early 40s. There are just genetic freaks out there. That's the way it goes. So
Mm-hmm.
and that's a spectrum all the way through. So yes, that's always out there. As well as in terms of the social media, I also find we become almost parodies of our actual selves. Like
Mm-hmm.
like if they meet you, they expect you to be a certain way based off your social media. Like, okay, I'm energetic. I'm talking about things I love. Whenever I'm on the podcast or the commentary or whatever the shit. I've literally had people meet me when it's early in the morning, you're tired, whatever the shit, and you're just normal. And they're like, is everything okay? Is everything wrong? And I'm like, no, no, no. Oh, no, no, sir, I'm a normal person. That's all. I'm just you catch me tired when I just woke up because you caught me at a hotel where I'm about to eat and have coffee, whatever. So the same guy who later in the day afterwards will be super energetic, super high energy, super all these things, and you're like, that's what you're used to. If you catch that same guy in the fucking morning when he just woke up and he's got to go downstairs to grab his coffee, food, and all that, so you're going to catch him before anything. He just showed up. Yeah, he's a person. He's not going to be off the walls, whatever the shit. But for them, some people actually tell themselves like you're not even a real person. You're only the highlights they see. And if they
Yeah.
see you like that, they're like, is something wrong with him? Is he okay? No, what? Like,
No, like
God.
there's this one time when things hit the fan with a company. They were just coming out and they're saying like, oh, like I talked to this person and this person. They were like, this is at Raw Nationals when I hit 851. Like I know, like I see him like super confident on social media, like super that hard, like I'm on this, I'm gonna do it, stuff like that. In person, social anxiety if there's a lot of people around, and I overthink conversations in my head as I'm having. So I have just social anxiety. This guy said he came up and talked to me, and I remember him. He was just like, he was like, "Hey, like I'm so and so. Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Austin." And then he was like, "Hey, can you sign this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I signed it." And then he asked me a few questions, and then we like you have that awkward silence moment where it's like, "What are we doing here?" Because I was just sitting there watching the competition, so I was just like, I answered his questions, and then I was just like, and then later on, he posted on social media, and he was like, I don't know if Austin just didn't mess with me or anything, but he really just didn't say much whenever we were talking. So like, I just think he doesn't like me." And I was like, bro, I just didn't know what to say. My wife was like,
Oh,
yeah, because you just sit there and don't say anything. I was like, bro, I literally just didn't know what to say. Like, I answered all your questions. That was nice. I wasn't like, just get out of my face. I was just, bro, like
it's
I
normal.
literally just didn't know what to say. Like, what do we like? I don't know you, so like, what is something that we can correlate to talk about after you've asked me about powerlifting stuff?
It's yeah, it's totally fair, man. People forget. People totally forget. Everybody you know, everyone you see on podcasts or blow it up even bigger than that, movies, TV, but they're just straight up normal people. And if you approach them and they don't know you necessarily, it could be that. It's not. People forget, man. Sometimes people forget, and it is that. So the older and older I get, the easier and easier certain situations are, in especially conversations, because I have these conversations like I'm on podcasts all the time.
Hmm.
But when I first started, it's not easy just to find freaking conversation out of nowhere and just
Yeah,
be like, and if you get caught off guard with it, where you're just walking around and someone stops you, and it's like, what's cracking, man? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not.
I figured out since then that like the best thing to do when you get in situations is just to ask more questions.
Well,
Like that's just the best thing to do.
this is so 100%. This is now at this point. It's crazy. If you met me in my 20s, totally different, same person, but conversational skills. That's 100% what I do. I'll ask you a question, you'll give me an answer, and I'll have a follow-up
Yeah,
question to what you gave me. And then you'll give me
yeah,
an answer, and then we're going to end up cooking. And eventually I'm going to find something where I'm like, that's interesting, and I'm going to move. And
yeah.
that's all
That's
it
it's
is.
my one of my good friends, Samuel. He's from the UK. He taught me that, and I was just like, bro, this is amazing. I was like, it's so easy to have a conversation.
It is.
It's like you just literally keep asking the question until you find a similar ground. It's like, oh, now I can talk about
Yeah.
something.
Now I got
It's
you.
good, man. Yeah, I have one more quote for you. Actually, I
Yeah,
think
let's
unless I
go.
said it already. Oh, okay. This is another mental health type thing. So I tell you, like I beat myself up all the time. So this quote: If you consider yourself self-aware, but only acknowledge the things you need to change, and not the things you really do well, you aren't self-aware. You're just being mean to yourself.
No shit, hey?
And I saw that one this past week, and I fell in love with that one. I've been using it every day whenever I have like the negative thought, and I'm like, dang, I wish I would have done this better, or I wish I would have deadlifted more, or my bench would have. I'm but dude, like you hit the highest total of 74 because I hit the other one above 74. He's like, you
Mhm.
hit the highest total of 74. You squat over 700 pounds, and you were doing it consistently now. Like, look at the positive. Like it's everything is going to be okay. You only have time to get better, and you know what you did wrong. So let's just correct that and do everything right.
Put it this way. I seen this, forget the actor's name who was talking about it, but he's like, if you talk to your friends the way you talk to yourself, how, to your point, how mean would you be? Would you even have friends? For instance, your friend hit the biggest total in 74 kilo history, took all three formulas, broke these world records, and is the best powerlifter pound for pound in the world, improved it once again on the biggest platform in the sport. And what kind of an asshole would you be if you were telling him, yeah, wow, I was expecting this, and yeah, well, like what kind? Imagine your friend did that to you. You do that to you. But imagine you did that to your friend. Imagine your friend did that. And when you saw them, you don't even acknowledge those things. You just say all the things they didn't do. If that was like a father figure, they'd be an abusive father. People look at that and be like,
Hmm.
that's horrible. Or if you were a friend, even worse, sometimes we tell ourselves, like, if you make a mistake, you're like, fucking idiot. I'm so stupid. I can't believe I did that. But if your friend makes a mistake and you talk to them like that, you're not going to have friends. But we will talk to ourselves like that, won't we? You will
Hmm.
beat yourself up, but you will never talk to your girl like that, your friends like that. You would never talk to your daughter like that. You would never, ever talk to anyone like that you love. Do you love yourself? Because you don't talk, you don't treat yourself the same way you treat others. And it's weird. We don't think about that.
That's a good thing to think about.
Very good quote. It is
That's
very,
good.
very true.
That's really good.
Yeah, it
I feel
puts
like
things into
for some reason
perspective.
I feel like I saw that. I think it might have been. I want to say Matthew McConaughey, but it sounds like something he would say in an interview. To be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's gonna help. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Boy, dog, we covered some ground in this podcast, huh?
Yeah, I was like, damn, my wife's not texting me yet. I'm worried. I was like, it's been a while, you know. Yeah, it's been 2 hours. That's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
I could keep going.
We yeah, I love having these podcasts. I got three this weekend. Russ and Shell as well are coming on here. Um, but yeah, man, I love coming on here, especially you came prepped. You
Yeah,
came ready to rock and roll with some quotes and some things to work out. And I wasn't sure. I didn't know you were feeling the way you were initially after Sheffield, because of everything you achieved. So it's
yeah,
interesting, but it's good
yeah, man.
though.
It's good.
For you
It's
to be
like I said,
transparent, for you to be
yeah.
transparent with it. I mean, because I think
I,
most people would be in my shoes and not know.
yeah, I didn't want to like. I hated going. People, I hate when people go into competitions and then come out and then blame it on something else. And I'm not going to be the person I don't want to be. So like, I'm not gonna go come out of this competition and blame it on that. I could have done a few things probably different or better before, but it's neither here or there. It's over with now. I just want to move past it and get back on that horse and make sure everything's fine. Because like I said, this is the down tick. This is the one loss I'll give myself for the next 2 years, and it should be only up from here. And that's what I'm saying. That I'm not saying it should be. It's going to be like that from now on.
What do you think right now is your finest moment in powerlifting?
I'll definitely say the 851. I feel like that pushed me ahead and it showed that I'm an outlier and I'm capable of doing something. And I like how there was after another competition where it's like I had only hit 800 and then I finally hit like 825 and then
Mm.
I went and hit 851. Like it was like a consistent uptick going into the competition. I felt like for the first time probably in my career, I felt I guess I'll say satisfied with myself. Like I was like, damn, I really did good. Like I didn't look back on it and say like, I wish I would have done this better. I wish I would have done this better. But no, yeah, that's literally it. Like I think it was good, like publicity wise. I think everyone gave me my flowers. I was happy with it, but I think what just makes it the best for me is I actually felt like I did something in that competition. The 800 was like, yeah, but like I fainted after and I gave my all and I barely got it. Like that was good, but no, I think the 851 definitely means a lot more.
I remember when you hit 825, and that's the first time I recognized you started doing this.
Oh yeah.
And I remember it was like, oh, the groundswell is like, is he about to be the guy? Is he about to be? And there's some guys like, no, 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 it's not yet. He's not Taylor yet. Like he's not. And then 851 to your point was when it's like, it's him. No,
Yeah.
it's him. That was I love that you did the crown thing. It was almost like a preview, like I'm coming for that crown. If I'm not now, the next one I'll be undeniable.
Yeah.
And
And then that was good too, because it got me like on a like a I'm feeling good. And then that got me ready for Taylor mentally going into it. Um and then after we figured out he wasn't going to compete, I was just like 839. His total was 838 and a half. I was like, let's do it 839 and then 7 for 9. I was like, let's just destroy it. And he was just like, Joe's on board for it. He was like, we don't have to push it, but we want to push squat and see if we can squat 700. So let's just do that. And then
Mm.
everything else just fell into place like it was supposed to. So like it also like had an effect on me after. So before going into the 851, I felt really good. Had a good day on the day, and then after that, it was just continuous like killer mentality.
And what do you think would give you the satisfaction of 851 gave you looking ahead?
Coming back next year and winning Sheffield, or in Sheffield next year, I just total whatever I wanted to total this year, or more, that or more. Like I don't even have to win. Like someone could come, or like Bob could come, or I don't even know how much the 120 record, but someone could come and be able to break the world record by like half a percent or a percent more than me. I would still be happy with what I did because first of all, my dots would be like right below John Hags. I would be like, I think I would break the top 10 for tested, untested
Mm.
dots. Um, and yeah, man, like I would just feel good with a 9 for 9 day on that day and hitting 870 plus. I'll say 870 plus. It's definitely more than 870, but 870 plus. If it's below that, I'll just keep going, of course. But I think it's there as long as I come in with the right attitude and the right body prep. I think we'll be good. I think like I don't know, man. I think 850 should be like a 7 for 9 day, which basically kind of was it at Sheffield this year. Like that should be like a 850 should be a bad day for me. That's what I want to make it. Like I should be able to miss. I should be able to go 6 for 9 and still total 850.
It's funny because titles are what makes you vindicated in terms of are you on the level. Like you could do a lot of things at a local level, domestic level, etc. But people are like, can you go to worlds and can you win world titles? Can you go to Sheffield? Can you the big moments do you get overcome? Like that's where you really prove yourself. Blowing up a local
Mm-hmm.
meet's one thing, coming to the big one. So titles matter. Definitely looking back at your resume and career, like how many world titles you have, because we know some people have potential but never quite make that. However, so titles give you that, but being able to actually see your full potential and unload on the biggest possible, like that's all I had. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I hit those numbers. Feels altogether good as well.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, you get both.
Yeah. I'd like, I would love to go completely like feel good and completely push myself. I think that's why the 851 was so satisfying. It's because that was the first competition where I put everything into it and then it was still easy, you know? So I think I'll get back there, man. I'm trying some new things. I want to, I'll graze over it a little bit, but me and Joe are changing a few things. Gonna maybe implement some conventional deadlift. Try that out. I haven't done that since like high school.
It's an accessory
Uh,
type, not like a
yeah,
primary.
yeah, no, as an
Okay, okay.
accessory, as an
I was gonna
accessory.
say,
Maybe
holy
I'll
shit.
switch over to the primary if it feels good enough. Maybe I don't know.
Right.
I might actually try to adapt a wider sumo deadlift. Um, just because I don't know. I guess I'm not getting the wedge like I should. So I think if I widen out a little bit, like more of like a closer, maybe like Joe Borenstein, Waskar, like type thing. So not like toes touching the plates, but like a little bit more in. And then I'm gonna be back in heels. That's gonna be
Mm.
good because these flats are just they're good when it hit me feel stable, but I don't want to have to reach for depth every time, you know? Like I feel like I was going in every squat day, like dying hitting depth.
Mm.
So I feel like it'll save my body some more. So yeah, man, some things change, are changing. And I can't wait to implement them. I can't wait for Worlds. Germany is going to be nice. Not as nice because my wife isn't going to be there because she's going to be like 8 months pregnant. So it'll be my first competition without her. Um, and I'm excited for my baby to get here, man. Can't wait for that. Can't believe I'm going to be a dad. That's crazy. It's insane. I'm happy though. I'm happy. But
It is good on you. Friggin' Yeah, first off, you'll never audit yourself more than if you didn't have the day you wanted. Now you're going to audit yourself. Like Russ after Worlds was like oh, when you're winning by 20 kilos, whatever, and you're hitting, it's easy to not audit yourself. But then when you take an L, you didn't take an L, but the way you felt, anyways, represented
Hmm.
that. So you're going to audit yourself. But Russ audited, like he was in heels, he was reaching, like he opened more than he finished on bench at Worlds. Like he was like, you have to change things. Pressure's
Hmm.
not bad. What we also got to realize in life, these we tell ourselves we just want to feel, why can't we feel good all the time? Why anxiety is a horrible feeling, depression is a horrible feeling. And like, I'm not talking deep depression, but the depressions like you're talking about after Sheffield where you feel terrible and you're like, I can't, why can't life just be nothing but sunshine? Why can't it only be on those type of terms? If it was, progress is almost always made after being uncomfortable in these situations and being low. And when you're at your lowest, that's when you're really going to start auditing yourself. And how do I pull myself out of this? How
Hmm.
do I make sure next time is different? And you're only doing that with those feelings. It's very difficult, but it's part of life, and you accept it. When these things come and you feel it, you won't feel like this forever. You accept it and be like, it's okay. I'm not going to feel like this in the future, but how
Hmm.
do I make sure this doesn't happen again? What do I got to do?
Hey, look, all I'm saying is I'm ready to put my foot in the tire. Foot in the tire.
That's right. That's right. Listen, man, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. This is an excellent way to wrap it up right there with the foot in the tire comment and vibes. That's going to be a t-shirt, by the way. But thank you for coming on, dog. Let's stay in touch. Let me know how things are going, and we'll do this again. I'll definitely
Yeah,
see you in
for
Germany.
sure. We should. I want to get on like and do something whenever you guys do like a group one. I haven't been a part of a group one since the 74 one. Like I want to be on with someone. Put me on with Matt or
You're in.
something.
You're in. Yeah, let's freaking go. Let's
All
next
right, bet.
one that we have a group on, whether it's like a specific topic that we're getting everybody's opinions or whatever the shit. The group ones are hella fun. I'll
Yeah.
pull you in. I'll pull
I
you
want to
in.
have like I want to be like Gavin when I do the Christmas one. Give me like a every year one, like a once a year. I can be make it April Fool's Day. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm do. I love them too. I'm going to do them more and more often as well. You're in, dog. Let's do it. I think it's a good idea.
All right, bet.
But
Appreciate you.
but thank you for coming on, and for everybody listening, as per usual, please do subscribe, give us high ratings, and until next time, six pack Lapadat, six up, and we are out.